to the Morning Connection. This is Monday, the 21st of February, 2022. Time is running like water, but we're so happy to be here. Good morning to all the listeners who have joined us on radio, those who have joined us online. Thank you, as always, for making the time to start your morning with us. This is Minette Lawrence, and with me, Pastor Percival Palmer, greeting you on this blessed Monday. Good morning, Percy.
Good morning, Minette. How are you today?
I am well. Have I distracted you with my you want a bamba? You know it, don't you?
No, I just saw it
TikTok.
and I said,
Yeah,
what is happening on my sister's phone this morning?
Yes.
But good morning to Jamaica.
I'm waiting on the alert to go live.
Good. Good morning to Jamaica. Good morning to those who are listening to us on the World Wide Web. Good morning to those who are listening to us in Radio Land. We greet you today and thank you for joining us this
like you're
morning.
Going to say in the mighty name.
No, I agree. No, yes. But that's a very powerful name, as the song before says. The name of Jesus. You have no rivals. You have
no equal.
No equal. You cannot be rival. You want me to tell you where I'm at this morning?
Absolutely.
It was a good weekend. I had a funeral and I had
a wedding.
And a wedding.
A beginning and an end.
Yeah.
The Alpha and Omega. The Alpha and Omega.
That I had.
The producer trying to figure out how the funeral made it into a good weekend.
No, man. It wasn't. No, let me tell you something. I love doing funerals. People say, yeah, I do. It's a wonderful time for ministry. And potentially in the future for raising the dead. I am believing that we will see that being manifest in our time.
Percival, you do altar call at the funeral?
Yes, I do.
Mind you tell me where you put them, by the coffin?
They depend on where they
Where's
want
the altar?
It depends because with the DMRAU, with a certain amount you can have the body or you cannot have it. So what we had was a viewing before. Authorized by the parish council, the Ministry of Local Government were responsible, and it was an interesting time, and so I was grateful that I was able to help the family in their moment of grief. But this man had a wonderful legacy in terms of his family and from what he did. The story was he left the rural areas as a young man, as a teenager. They never seen for a period of time, but he came back with a skill, started a family. Actually, had two families, but his children have done well. Children have done well.
Actually, I had two families.
Yeah, two families. Yes, two families, and that was an interesting dynamic in terms of what happened at the fair. But his children had moved on to become doctors and that kind of a thing. So it's a real success story. And they'll tell you,
contribution to nation building.
Yeah. As they would say about their father, one thing about him, he was their champion.
Every child got their fair share.
Yeah, he was their champion. So that was powerful enough. So, but it was good. And then, of course, on the Saturday, I had the wedding. And that, again, was interesting. But God is good, as my producer says, Alpha and Omega.
Yeah, I noticed that the wedding just got a one-liner. That again was interesting. But the funeral got a whole page.
Yeah, because it was a small thing. Just members of the family.
No, but it does make sense. A funeral comes at the end of a life well lived. You said he was 86.
Yeah.
Wedding is a new thing.
New beginning, new covenant term.
You gotta
well, it's funny though.
Make sure it settles first.
It was so funny that when the gentleman was coming, but I'm saying, get new clocks on the occasion. That was so funny. And was there prancing and dancing about, He was happy. He was a happy person.
A happy groom?
Yes. So was the wife. Why would you ever complain, Jamaica, or why Israel saying, God has lost track of me. He doesn't care what happens to me. Don't you know anything? Haven't you been listening? God doesn't come and go. This is from the Message. God lasts. He's creator of all you can see or imagine. He doesn't get tired out, doesn't pause to catch his breath. And he knows everything inside and out. He energizes those who get tired. He gives fresh strength to dropouts. For even young people tire and drop out. Young people in their prime stumble and fall. But those who wait upon God get fresh strength. They spread their wings and soar like eagles. They run and don't get tired. They walk and don't lag behind. This is from the Message. God has not lost track of any person this morning. But those who wait upon him, they become renewed. They mount up with wings as eagle. There's something about an eagle vision. When you rise like an eagle, you're able to see widely. Somebody says you have eagle vision. You're seeing everything, and it gives you a wonderful perspective of what you need to do in the times of troubling times when you go, oh, should I persevere? But like you and like a lot of persons, we are saying, don't give up. Keep pressing on.
It's time for the first break, 6:30. Let's take our break, and then when we get back, we can set our agenda for the morning. Please stay with us.
We'll be right back.
Youths, are you stressed? Are you faced with trauma? Well, this is the program for you. Join Royton McLaren for Youth Resilience and Empowerment every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. on Best 100.5 FM.
Half a tree, 100, half a tree. Bossy, how do I take taxi star?
Jano, I want to tell you, say, 2 months now, my transmission mash up, and I check everybody and can't hear nothing positive.
Yeah, hear me? Yeah, waste all that time on shop around and never call the experts. Winters Auto have them. Them have over 35 years of experience and them diagnose the problem and get back your transmission brand new. For them service excellent and efficient. Trust me, man. Yeah, hear me? Call them at 929-7040 or go to them at 106 Maxfield Avenue, Kingston 13 and talk directly to the boss. Just tell them I'm me, senior.
Wow, you big star. Yeah, man, respect my boss.
I try calling cause trust me.
Waiters Auto Spares and Repairs, good afternoon.
Ah, what a relief.
Easy! Let not your hearts be troubled. Just believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer to truth, the unnatural put above the natural. This is Lady Donna, aka Double D Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith that God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. Lady Donna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record Label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
This is my station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Keep listening.
We're committed to reducing the impact of disasters occurring in Jamaica. We're ever ready to assist you before, during, and after a disaster. But everybody have a role to play, so make we work together and follow the plan. Whether rich or poor or where you come from, hurricanes affect everyone, so be prepared. Prevention is better than cure. Be prepared. Listen to ADBEM.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Vijam Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vijam Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. to the Morning Connection. All right, so for this week, it is the last week of February. So whatever we haven't got in the last 20 days, we need to work hard on making sure we cover it. This is in relation to our themes of rising up, the Black race stepping into position and accomplishing what it is destined to do. And this I think will be an ongoing theme, needing to return to the truths and traditions that are at the foundation of our existence and our identity. It being Black History Month, I kind of hesitate because, like so many of us, you know, I don't readily take what other people assign. I like to be creative and participate in making decisions on how I celebrate my identity. But you know, we've gone along with the designation of February as Black History Month.
Because some of the times people have come out against a lot of things that are in the Christian faith and says we have taken the pagan and have converted it. Like for instance, Christmas. It really was a pagan holiday. But what some people have suggested is, okay, people did it in order to shift people's mindset. Now, Christmas is celebrated around the world by every person. If they said, oh, it's pagan, let's stay there.
Not every person, but
but that's
many
significant. Many societies
acknowledge the same day.
Yeah, and it's an international holiday, whatever it is. Yeah, so it's kind of interesting that some things you join in and then you infiltrate and you take it over.
It's a takeover.
Yes. Trojan horse.
Right.
Yeah.
But certainly celebrating our history in the month of February. I will celebrate our history every day if I get
That's
the
what we're supposed to
opportunity.
do. That's what we're supposed to do.
So the fact that we go along with February doesn't mean that we are stopped from charting our own course and selecting another occasion which has meaning for us. So even while I'm saying we want to be sure that we cover all the bases in February, I'm acknowledging that if we miss something, we can carry it on in
And continue
March
to do
and
that.
April and for so long as it pleases us until the mission is accomplished.
And as just on that note, there's a international lobby. What do you call it? Any
Lobby is good.
Yeah, to have the charges against Garvey.
Oh yeah,
exonerated.
take it like it's a new thing.
No, but it's going on. No, but it's actually in WhatsApp. No, people saying we need this amount.
Yeah, because certainly former Prime Minister Patterson, with his Center of African Excellence, whatever it's called, he has been very vocal in recent times, especially because it is February, advocating for people in the diaspora and other CARICOM and CARICOM countries to participate in a petition that should get to Washington for the charge against Garvey to be expunged, making the point that in a just society, in a well-run system would never have convicted him in the first place. And some of these things are symbolic, because of course, what does it matter? A part of Garvey's greatest contribution is the fact that he was persecuted.
And prosecuted.
Absolutely. And many of us have had that experience. And the truth is, when you almost like the expungement is a taking away of some of your street creds. Could you two please stop? This is serious business. For my own part, taking it away, I always say it, like people ask me about the GLC, and I say, well, if you take that away, you've taken a big conversation topic off the table.
Oh, okay, all right.
It's way better to talk about persecution, and you are way more influential and impactful within your persecuted character than when you are exonerated.
Okay.
And you know why? A lot of persons who go through persecution, some of them have done something that is and fitly rightly deserves to be prosecuted, since you and the producer were so captivated by how Percy is in both words. So some who are prosecuted have, could easily plead guilty.
True.
And not be out of step. The ones who are innocent of wrongdoing, like Marcus Garvey,
Right.
and whose prosecution was really persecution. It is in that state of trauma and abuse that they speak the loudest and are a source of great motivation for others who need to know that these things that happen to you do not stop or interfere with purpose. And that is a nice segue into what is on my mind this morning. And it comes out of Exodus chapter 4, verses 11 to 12. For those who are history buffs, well, Bible history buffs certainly, you'll remember that when Moses was called into service, he was not the most willing. He didn't quite understand why he would be called to do something for which he felt he had no natural ability. Later this week, we're going to be speaking to Senator Floyd Morris. Good morning, Senator, who has very kindly consented to visit with us again, in spirit, that is, and in words. And because last week, February 14th, the regulations under the Disabilities Act were brought into effect. I'm still looking for a copy. I hope to get it today. We want to have a conversation with the Senator on a number of issues from his perspective. And of course, he has been one of the champions trying to get this legislation in effect. And so his perspective is one that we really want to share. And I think our listeners would benefit from hearing what he has to say as someone who not only worked to bring the legislation into effect, but who is himself serving with what the others of us regard as a disability. So when Moses, champion of the Exodus, when he was called into service and felt that his abilities were lacking in some fundamental respects. You want me to go and speak, but I have a stutter. You want me to go stand before the king, but I fled that country for fear of being prosecuted for murder, which, yes, he did kill someone and had left the country in that state. You want me to go back and stand before the highest office in the land to demand that the people who are working and contributing to the economy, that those people should be released. Okay. I don't have the skills to do that. The Lord said to him, who gave human beings their mouths? Who makes them deaf or mute? Who gives them sight or makes them blind? Is it not I, the Lord? Now go, I will help you speak and will teach you what to say. I did not need to myself have contact, relations, or even just be closely associated with adults and a child who persons looked at and had questions about whether they were rightly abled. That's how I'm putting it. I'm not saying disabled. I'm just saying rightly abled, meaning those of us who look on, see people in their different shapes and forms and consider them disabled in one way or another because they don't match with our limited understanding of the many shapes and forms in which our Father creates. I'd always felt that each person arrive in the intended package, no matter what it looks like. If you're born black, white, Chinese, with 2 ears, with 1 ear, 1 arm, 2 arms, no legs. However you arrive in this world, you are rightly abled. And the challenge is for those around you to recognize it and to become a part of the network and the support system that gives you all that you need to prepare you for this purpose that no one can see or imagine, but for which you are in exactly the right, perfect shape and form. It requires a heart of love and understanding to see persons who are different from ourselves and to recognize in them that same quintessential ability and spark and greatness that makes us unique. All of us learn that though we may look alike, even, identical twins, that we are unique, we are each different. No matter how alike we may appear, there is something about us that is unique. And that conversation, the recognition of that truth, is all about purpose. You are uniquely created for a purpose that only you can fulfill. When the moment comes for that thing to be done and they're looking around, no one else can step up and say, let me do it. In fact, you may find that in many situations, persons do the exact same sequence of activities that you do, and it does not have the same result as when you do it. And anyone who cooks can know that two people use the same ingredients, prepare what ought to be the same meal, and end up with an entirely different response. So we know that there is the uniqueness of our individuality, let me put it that way. Our individuality is keenly in alignment with our unique purpose. And for those who have wondered why this or that child looks this or that way, your answer is here. Who gave human beings their characteristics, the design? Is it not I? So you come here based on how your creator fashioned you. And while you are here, you are never disabled. And I say that notwithstanding the great differences that exist between many of us. Yesterday, I was having a conversation with my son who has various sensitivities. And what was interesting is sharing with him the things that seem so different about him, which are really commonplace in our home and certainly commonplace in my experience. I have a thing called synesthesia. It's where, and many people have it, where your senses function cooperatively as one. I can look at something and smell it. I look at it, I taste it. I see dust, I begin to choke. And it's real. My senses interpret things in a very joined up fashion. It's not extreme to the point of making me unable to function in normal settings, but it certainly gives me an increased level of empathy. Because if I see your eyes hurting, my eyes become red. Some people say it's like a sympathetic thing, because if I look on it long enough, I begin to feel it and to associate myself with even the trauma of it. But it makes me very empathetic. If you tell me this hurts, and I can look at you and know why it hurts. And on the fun side, I can, watch someone eating and be very satisfied because I can taste it, I smell it, and it evokes all of the sensations as if I'm having a meal. Okay, it's not extreme, and it's really not an issue. But when I see my son exhibiting some of those signs, I can relate. And I can ask him, I can say, when you look at it, do you feel this? Do you see that? I say, that's okay.
Because
I think about people eating cane, and my nerves just go crazy because that sound of the crunch of the cane, even to talk about it, it's like nails on a blackboard.
Okay.
It just makes my nerves skitter. And so you learn these things, you understand these things. You are made exactly the way the Lord wants you to function in the task that He has given you. So on Wednesday, we're going to speak with Floyd Morris. And I'm warming up your spirit to understand that the people we marginalize and we don't understand them readily, and it seems like it's a great inconvenience to have them around and so on, they are rightly abled for some specific things. And one of those things I realize is to teach the rest of us how to love and how to be caring and how to nurture and how to bring wholeness to a society that is sometimes all too selfish, self-centered. And we, in our egocentristic way of doing things, oftentimes fail to be sufficiently accommodating of those who are different among us. Pastor, you're itching to say something. Let me just scratch that itch. Your time.
Okay. Out of the passage that you read, as somebody who is a part of it, the disabled community.
Differently abled, rightly abled.
And the word used is not a new expression, actually, because having been in different fora around the world, especially in sports, and relating to persons who have lost a limb because of war or something, and just continuing to bring ministry to that community in terms of what Word of God says about them was very much so. In the New Testament, when Jesus had that banquet, and people would come, he says, go out and bring everybody. He opened the door for everybody who were otherwise able to come and be a part of it. So I understand that. And of course, in regards to my daughter and working, and one of the things it did for me though, is that it opened my balls of compassion to be able to relate to the community and to serve them in whatever way I had, especially parents like myself who wanted to have, it's the first child, I know, all excited that you have clothes and then hear that. We don't think he's responding the way he should, right? So in terms of hearing, because that affects their education. But thank God, we have become more compassionate as a society. We have not only become compassionate, but we have, as it were, put into law that they have rights and privilege like everybody else. And interestingly, in terms of the work with the deaf and the blind is led by the church. It was a pastor who founded the Jamaica Association all the way back in 1938. And of course, the stellar work that the Salvation Army has done and continues to do with children who are not sighted as well. So I like that. But I want to go off on another thing out of that passage. That God is able to use the persons who have stumbled or made mistakes. In that Moses was a murderer. Moses was a murderer. Paul was a murderer. David was a murderer, and he was
Paul was a mass murderer.
Yes, he was. And the other person, David, was a murderer and an adulterer. And if we were to look at it in the way that how we do stuff, once you've made mistakes, you stay out there. There is no redemption. God is able to, because that is how God is, a God of compassion and mercy, and able to redeem the irredeemable, to do work that they were, as it were, created to do. So it's important that we understand that and continue to walk in that truth and that revelation in terms of what goes on in our lives. Yeah.
And the whole business of recognizing the value in who you are in your current condition is, I think, what is at the heart of what we're saying this morning. Jamaicans are very traumatized at the moment. I mean, there seems to be no part of our everyday existence that is free from trauma. You go through, I was spending some time looking at some of the headlines on the weekends. Of course, I have to, when something kind of, resonate with the spirit on the weekend, you have to make a note and keep it so that we can be a part of the discussion come Monday morning. And there were a couple of things which stood out. The firearm licensing authorities.
Yes, I saw that. I was going to comment on that.
Yeah,
yes, it's just
though that is continuing. But what I like about it, if there's anything to like, what I like about it is that we're now moving beyond looking at what's happening in the FLA as a discrete office, and we're seeing how it resonates back in the community, because the son of the Chinese couple who were killed in St. Elizabeth, he has come out to say that not once but twice his application for a permit was denied on the basis that there was no need. He did not establish a need for the firearm. Pastor, you challenged me the other day and I kept thinking about it. I'd said I was not going to conduct a review of the amendments to the Firearm Act, and you asked me why, and you suggested that I should. And I was feeling like it's pointless because the whole thing is so rotten at the moment that the legislation alone, it seems like a waste of time to be looking at the legislation. But I've repented of that view, not least because you urged me to look at it. When I saw this young man coming out saying he had been denied a firearm permit because on the basis that no need had been established, and I see the views being expressed by a former deputy chair of the organization, and he was emphasizing a couple of things which all seemed good on the surface. He said, one, you cannot condemn a person for past indiscretions when they were showing some evidence of reformed behavior. Two, he said the licensing regime was based on persons being able to establish a need. So there's a coincidence of character and need. But he also seemed to be saying that where the need is great, the fit and proper assessment had to be such that it did not stop someone with a great need from being able to take a permit. That is my best interpretation of it. And then you see someone coming forward whose need requires no demonstration because, in fact, his parents died
as a result
of there being, I guess, no level of security. I don't know if it would have made a difference, but it's hard for you to make that argument in the aftermath when he had made an application. And then I saw a most peculiar conversation unfolding now concerning that the Chinese gentleman's application. From the same FLA, persons there now saying, I think the person who spoke is connected to the decision-making apparatus but did not want to go on record with his name. So with that caveat, let me repeat what's been said. When foreign nationals apply for a permit, they are unable to conduct a proper assessment of their integrity, fit and proper standing, because you can't get information from their home country. You don't know who they are. You don't know. We are prepared to give license permits to convicts and felons and people of low character. But a man about whom you know nothing, it's not, you have cause to be suspicious, you know nothing. Is this entitled? This is the notion of fairness and transparency that we are exercising and following in this country. The man is here. His parents have a business. He's involved in it. He has assets to protect. And I think they'd been the subject of previous robberies and so on. And because you can't get something from him in China, about him in China, you leave him vulnerable, while people here who not have no good reputation, you're not in any doubt about who they are. It is an amazing kind of logic at work. And those are the people we're putting in places of influence to make decisions. Persons who don't have they don't have the first grade level of understanding of natural justice or how you handle things.
Yeah, but somebody would say, don't draw my tongue this morning.
All right, me no want to draw your tongue, because you speak at funeral and weddings, so you know the beginning and the end of all things.
But that's an interesting point.
So there's an unfairness in it that smacks of corruption. When you can get up and say, I can just imagine them there saying, but who is he? We don't know him. Who is he? But come on, you're prepared to take China's money, but their people are worthless. You can have them come here and work and contribute to the society in every kind of way, but you don't regard them as having any reputation.
But it goes back to the very issue that we continue to speak about: fairness across the board, justice across the board in terms of how we deal with it. So you must have justice that is the same from the man who lives uptown for the man who lives downtown, and it cannot be justice that is related to who you know and how much money you have.
Yeah.
That's all it goes back to, So we need to change that mindset in our country.
Yeah, we got break signal, but let it be said here, because of what's going on with the FLA and their perverse notions of justice and the way they have administered their portfolio, Morning Connection is going to review the amendments to the firearm legislation. So I make that commitment. I have to get it done. I think it's due in by some date in March. But I believe we have,
remember the gentleman saying we're going to push it to fast track.
Yeah.
Oh, them never fast track Integrity Commission and
Let's take the break when we come back.
We'll be right back.
government, through the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, will be continuing efforts to expand the number of persons 75 years and older who are registered under the Social Pension Program during the upcoming 2022-2023 financial year. Stay tuned for more. I'm Jeremy Nelson. Launched in July 2021, the $800 million social pension program originally sought to benefit some 30,000 persons by providing assistance to those seniors who do not reside in a government care facility, are not in receipt of a pension or disability benefit, and are not registered on the Program of Advancement through Health and Education PATH or Poor Relief Program. Governor General Sir Patrick Allen says the need for the program going into the new financial year remains critical in light of the ongoing pandemic, with thousands more set to benefit.
The COVID-19 pandemic continues to highlight the importance of comprehensive programs that cater to the most vulnerable. To date, approximately 7,000 persons have been registered, and another 13,000 persons are being targeted to receive benefits under the program.
To register for the benefit, Project Director for the program, Elsa Marks Willis, says persons may visit the parish offices of the ministry island-wide.
And they can complete a social pension application, and the application has to be accompanied with a tax registration number and the proof of age. The proof of age can be either a birth certificate or a valid passport. They should also take along their identification, which is either a passport, driver's license, or the voter's ID.
If an applicant does not have all the necessary documents, they can still apply, and the Social Security Ministry will make every effort to assist.
We recognize that some persons who are eligible because of their age, they may not have the necessary documentation, but we are saying also that you can also visit the office, the parish offices of the Ministry of Labor and Social Security, and we will try to assist as best as possible with the documentation. We are working closely with the Tax Administration of Jamaica, the Registrar General's Department, as well as the electoral offices to assist the persons to acquire their documentation.
Each qualified beneficiary will receive $6,800 every 2 months, which will be credited to their bank account or disbursed via the applicant's remittance agency of choice. According to Mrs. Marks Willis, the ministry recognizes the financial inclusion aspect and the thrust of the government to enable persons to get their payment quite easily and electronically, so the funds will be disbursed through these channels.
We have already engaged the commercial banks, and several persons have been able to open what is known as low-risk bank accounts with very minimal document requirements.
Project Director for the Social Pension Program, Elsa Marks Willis. Meanwhile, up to December, the ministry noted that subscriptions for the program were low. Eligible seniors are therefore being encouraged to apply for benefits under the initiative.
We have space for persons to come on the social pension program. We're encouraging all our elderly persons out there who are not on path or not in receipt of a national insurance pension and over the age of 75 to come in and apply for this new benefit. It is for you.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Labour and Social Security, Colette Roberts-Wisden. For more information on the new social pension program, call the Social Security Division of the Ministry at 876-922-800029 or visit the nearest parish office.
Rio Grande to the South Coast. Hotel workers and man we're off boat. This a for the craft vendors, red cap porters and transportation at airport. Make a tourism pension plan, building towards the future. For tourism workers across the island, retirement benefits to contributions. Every worker in the industry, permanent self-employed contract. For your service you deserve security. Yes you do. Tourism workers pension plan, build a bright future. Yes you can. Tourism workers pension plan, workers invest through contributions. All tourism workers, age 80 to 59. Tourism workers pension plan.
Start making your contributions for a brighter future.
For further information, visit mot.gov.jm or call 876-920-4926-30.
A production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Keep listening.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-Time Taxi Service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us at 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
Best 100 FM.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
Make me your radio and turn me up when you feel low. This melody was meant for you. Sing along to my stereo.
Hey, my listening crew. This is your late afternoon companion to Shikalu on your 100 FM dial. Make sure you tune in and turn up every Tuesdays from 5 until 7 p.m. for OTAWTL. That is on the ear with me, yours truly. A program that will leave you inspired, entertained, and informed. The credit giveaways each week. Street Link, where we go in the streets to find out from the people what is hot and what is not, and so much more. And guess what? You can now voice your birthday shout-outs on our WhatsApp line at 876-438-9442, and we'll play them live on air. So what are you waiting for? Turn up Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Best 100 FM, the station that is sizzling every day.
Vegam Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vegam Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back. We had some interesting talks in the break, but we continue to look at the FLA issue and what it has generated, the public comments it has generated, even in regards to Mr. Meadows and Ms. Crystal Tomlinson in terms of her taking him on Twitter and what has resulted because of the exchange. And of course, the Klansman gang trial continues. Idiot charge. Anyway, Miss Minette, you are the trained law person in the midst. What do you think?
I don't know that I have any greater standing than Mr. Brian. Brian, his name is?
Yes, the witness.
Blackman. Andre Blackman. Blackman? What is the name? Oh, Andre Bryan. Okay.
Andre Bryan, but Blackman him name, and then some of the names.
I was saying to you concerning the headlines for Saturday. There, it's an interesting snapshot of what's going on in Jamaica. The FLA and its carrying-ons is really no different from the Klansman gang.
Okay.
In the sense that they are organizations. One has its existence in the lawful exercise of parliamentary duty.
That's FLA.
That is the FLA. One is social. It sprung up out of the society, and I say to myself, is it any more? Why is it less legitimate than the FLA in how we view things? Because surely there is a need. I'm speaking off the cuff right here now, so just say you have to hold me back. Out of our society comes groups.
Yes.
People associate, and there is freedom to associate. So in and of itself, associating under a club there's legislation called anti-gang legislation.
Correct.
But people coming together for common purpose is not unlawful. In fact, it is one of the expressions of your fundamental rights. Yeah. And there's a great need for people to come together around common causes because there are so few structures, institutionalized structures, to bring people together around those same causes. I mean, if you look at unions, if it's labor, you would say join a union, but really, it's even until you're employed, there's no union for you. Unions don't really have an interest in you unless you have a job. True. So unemployed people have little else to do than to, later on we're going to talk about community-based activities, but
we talk about 60-60.
But then now some gangs that might also fall off the anti-gang legislation because people coming together out of social need and trying to find a new way to make a living and so on is running dangerously close to the theory behind gangs. That's why I tell you that there's something missing in what we're doing that I want to consider a little more deeply. The alleged gang leader is someone who the court must feel satisfied that he's speaking for because they've admitted the evidence in his trial, said that the charge is an idiot charge. And he's expressing view that he don't see how the police could associate him with some charge of murder or several charges, whatever they are. And one of the things he says is that he expressed that he was being charged because they thought he did not understand the law and was an idiot.
That's something that's emerging in terms of these major organizations.
But let me tell you something. That man speaking on the tape make more sense than Dennis Meadows speaking on Twitter. and in terms of, okay, so I see that. I said, look at that. There's a man being charged, and more likely than not, a lot of the charges and the whole expense we're going to with this gang prosecution, you're going to see more acquittals than you see convictions. Of that I feel reasonably sure. On the other hand, you see Dennis Meadows and Crystal Tomlinson, two Jamaicans of sufficient youthfulness for us to consider them seriously as people who we will keep seeing in the future, squaring off on an issue, and in my view, both of them getting it wrong. That's my view. Right. Both of them getting it wrong. And here's why. Of course, Dennis Meadows, there's really nothing good that he can say at this point. He participated in the running of an organization that got it shamefully wrong, and for to hear that his brother-in-law had the permit was refused, and then when Meadows joined the board, the permit was granted without even an appeal, and have him talk about redemption and all these various things that only seem to apply to their own people is just disgraceful. And I'm just waiting to see what the Prime Minister... Absolutely. And you see the stories coming up. The young Chinese man whose permit was denied and whose parents are now dead.
Mm-hmm. And they give credence to an argument we've heard in this program.
But I don't need to get to Crystal.
Okay. Credence to the argument that somebody's been saying. Allow people to get guns if them pass the test.
Yes. But so now you have Mr. Meadows trying to defend the indefensible and trying to be highbrow about it too, not conceding that they all did wrong. Mr. Darling did wrong too, and Mr. Darling speaking out now is not because he has found Jesus. It's because he has taken a decision, which I encourage every civil servant who have knowledge of these things. Whether you're in the middle of it, you're at the top of it or the bottom of it, don't let the thing drag you down. Carry everybody down with you and give Jamaica a chance to rebuild from a place of truth and honesty.
That's so true. And
once you have spoken, don't keep fighting, and you've spoken, just let the thing run its course. Yeah. Open the books. Just give us a chance to get a hold of the thing with some level of dignity.
Yeah, because what I keep saying, so this thing speak about light. When light enters a situation, darkness is dispelled. And I wonder if we
we should let the light do its work.
Let the light do its work.
Don't bother trying
in the church for exposure for many years. Now we're seeing it on both sides. That indeed what needs to happen is the light. You see, because when a song says, and if night should turn today, a lot of people run away. Let the light expose all of the dark deeds that are being done in this country.
Now to Mr. Meadows' comments about
Crystal.
He styled her as baby mother number, #baby mother 13, and went on to say that he was not seeking to convince the likes of her. And honestly, baby mother number 13 means nothing
to any of
in all of this. Yes, because she is in fact the mother of Beenie Man's 13th child. That's a fact.
Mm-hmm.
That there, I could take no offense if a number is given to me in a long lineup. That's neither here nor there. I don't find that as being discriminatory or offensive, because it is the truth. He merely stated a fact. What is disturbing is how he refers to her as the likes of you.
Mm-hmm.
What on earth does that mean?
The likes of you. Because she's a baby mother? Is it because of what she represents?
And I mean, he was born of a woman.
Mm-hmm.
So his mother is a baby mother. Certainly when he was a baby mother. When he was a baby, that part, the likes of you is the part that disturbed me. And the other thing that disturbed me was that Crystal followed it up.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, she's talking about her reproductive choices and the way that the conversation
has degenerated.
And she's trying to bring him in line by enlarging and creating a more flamboyant presence on. I tell you, that's why Twitter is not my place of choice for any kind of discourse. But you do want to have conversations on issues that touch and concern national life, be elevated.
Come from the gutter. Move your
Take it out of the gutter. So Dennis and Crystal, please, the two of you, come out of the gutter with your discourse. This is important and serious. And really, of a fact, Dennis is trying to tell us that Crystal is not a person of judgment. So we should not be persuaded by what she's saying. Now, why he's describing her as someone who lacks judgment is something that he must find a better way to articulate it than to talk about the fact that she has a child.
But you know,
for an entertainer.
As you say that, one of the things is, and I've learned in the course of my life, and I'm going on like you are going on, we're ending up to the upper stages of where we should be. Don't not listen to the message because of the messenger. And we do that all the time because it's him, even if the person is speaking truth and saying something that is credible and true, because it's Percy when nobody listen to him. And we must move away from that. We must move away from that as a country. Let us listen to what the person is saying, because what has happened to us for a very long time, is said because, say, some person in high position says it, we believe it without checking to see, to check the veracity of the facts that they are speaking.
Okay, because you just got a little confusing for me. If the message, don't discard the message because of who carries it.
Right.
Check the facts. It really don't matter whether it's a person of high or low standing. Right. Okay. Now, I have a direct message from Mr. Meadows who says he's only human. You know, we had that conversation on the weekend. I was saying to my 14-year-old, the P of your humanity it's really an opportunity to invite the participation of the divine. Could that door be closed, please? I'm only human is not an excuse for bad behavior. I'm only human is the first sentence in a prayer for the assistance of the divine. Does that make sense to you, Pastor Percival? I've lost you.
No, man, I've heard what you're saying. Yes, ma'am.
Okay, right. When you say I'm only human, you are making it clear that there are some things which I cannot do on my own, and I can only get there through some supernatural intervention.
Right.
And it really is the start of a prayer. It is not the start of a defense for bad behavior. When Edina contacted Meadows, he said that those who knew him well could confirm that by nature he is civil and well-mannered. I respect man, woman, and child, but those who dare to question my character or seek to impugn my good name will feel my wrath. I am only human. I am not pretentious. Hours later, he bowed to public pressure and apologized. On reflection, says he, it's undeserving and unbecoming. It's an affront to women's reproductive rights and choice. Misogyny has never been a part of my being. Given the circumstances, I'm not in the right state of mind. And he apologized unreservedly. He made a comment that I'm trying to find it. Anyway, what I want to say to him is that it is when you are under pressure that your true nature emerges.
I agree with you 100%. Somebody says.
So he has revealed exactly who he is. And it is not someone who is civil and well-mannered. It is someone who is clearly quite tortured about the role and character of women in public discourse. That's as far as I would put it. And it's a subject with which I'm very familiar. You know, I've dealt with men who I meet. Just imagine, I'm introduced to someone at the same time as Lowell, and they will call Lowell Mr. Lawrence and try to call me Minette.
Ah, you're Mrs. Lawrence. You're Mrs. Minette Pamela.
Without my permission. We're not friends. We're not, we've met, we're just meeting. And they would be respectful to the man. And because there are many men in Jamaica who can only see women as girlfriends or sister or caregiver, or I mean, sister would be a step up, but they can only see women
They don't see as a wife?
as companion to men. Companion to men.
Okay, they don't see as Mr. Lawrence.
But I don't want to be seen as a wife. I want to be seen as a human female.
Oh, I see.
If you get my name, you've got my name. But whether I'm a wife, whatever my social relations are to other persons, I do not want to be seen as in the context of how you relate to women. Many men in Jamaica only relate to women in a very narrow sexual way. They can't think, they don't see
Let me
women
ask you a
outside
question.
of that.
So the mistake that he made, the person speaking to us to call you Minette instead of Mrs. Lawrence.
No, not.
No, I'm
He
just trying
does-
to understand, yeah. So he says you were introduced and this is Mr. Lowell Lawrence and you're Mrs. Minette Lawrence. If you had said that you'd have been okay.
If he had said Miss Minette, if he had said, may I call you Minette, but I didn't hear him ask Lowell, may I call you Lowell? He just immediately gave him the respect that you give to an adult who is a stranger to you.
So like if he had said Miss Minette, that means you are who you are and he's respecting you in your place as a woman of stature and things. That's what
Something about what you're saying is not right.
me just ask question, you know, sis.
Yeah, but
no,
what don't you understand in what
no,
I'm
you are
saying?
said that you have character.
All right, but just imagine when you meet someone and whomever introduced said, this is Pastor Percival, and the person says, just says to you, address you as Percy and address the other person as Mr. So and so. Does that mean anything to you?
For me, not really, because
because it's a man's world and you're accustomed to all things.
No, women and men do that to me all the time. That's what I'm trying to understand in my own mind. What is it that triggered you in terms of saying the whole thing? Because he didn't.
The difference. What triggered it is the difference in how he addressed us.
Okay.
It's the difference. It's all about the difference, you know.
Okay, so
if he had met me by myself and said Minette, it wouldn't have struck me as odd. I would just say, well, this is a man who's familiar.
Okay, but even and then that even crosses boundaries for you because he just met you for the first time.
Yes,
he don't know you.
that's it, right.
All right, that's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
yeah.
So the proper thing to have done in that setting would have referred to you, Miss Minette Lawrence, but we can't call him Minette. I don't know you.
No, that's my point.
All right, that's what I'm saying.
And it's not to say that familiarity or it's not to say that uninvited familiarity is always wrong. What concerned me, because the first few times it happened, it didn't, I grew up in an environment where very senior people said, when I started working at a law firm with people who were way, way senior to me, and I tried to say Mr. So-and-so or Miss So-and-so, everyone would say, no, please call me by the first name. And it was one way of breaking down barriers to make them be more accessible so that people who are learning wouldn't be too traumatized to push the door and say, can you help? And it has its place. So I grew up in a professional environment where there was a permitted familiarity for an express purpose. But as I observed, I realized that this man in question did not know how to relate to women outside of a familiar situation. So you know these men who they will go to professional women, meet them in professional circle and still want to call them baby and darling. There's a man now dead who was famous for it. You're sitting in a boardroom, discussions are being had, everybody's doing their thing, questions are being asked, the men are addressed as either first name or a proper name. The women get all kinds of appellations: dear, darling, baby, sweets. So there is a thing in our society, and it's not peculiar to Jamaica, in a situation where women are still not readily accepted in roles, in positions of authority and in certain roles. Men and some women too struggle with according them the respect that the office they occupy deserves.
Right.
And that's what we're seeing with Mr. Meadows as he chose to go in a certain direction with Ms. Tomlinson.
All right, but let me share personal experience with as somebody in church. So I meet somebody for the first time. I don't know them. And I'm saying, oh, I'm Percival Palmer. And I said, what is your name? They give me the first name. I says, don't you have a surname or something? And I say to them, just tell me your name. That I jokingly said that I don't go to a place and I say your nickname, your name, Puncinella or something like that. Because my thing is, you are a person, and that's how I deal with it as a person, not male or female. So even for males or female, that is something that I practice.
That's a choice you've made and you practice it.
I practice it. So, you know, when you say they can call me whatever they need to call me, so it is. And I'm saying to them, what is your name? They give me the first name. I say, what is your surname? That goes with me. I say, Conrad, man. Conrad, I've been thing I deal with that.
I love you, Conrad. Conrad said, black woman is God.
Yes, that's all right. And I says, but miss. So when I see them subsequent, I refer to them miss. So I know, or with their surname. It's just something, I don't know. I just choose to accord whoever you are at. You only I call you Minute.
But you see, you grew up, your mother, sainted woman that she is, your mother occupied a position of senior, she carried out her official role in government, and you were never in any doubt that women have the capability to be more than baby mothers. So you grew up recognizing that women of authority and they execute well.
But I could have gone into that group. So I'm agreeing with your point that we must accord people the right responsibility.
We'll be right back.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road. Kingston 10, entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
For a better choice in all your electrical supplies, A, authorized 3M dealer and better brand names. B, better service including free island-wide delivery. C, all major credit and debit cards accepted. It's ABC Electrical Sales. Shop number 8, Hagley Park Plaza, Kingston 10. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 5 p.m., Saturday, 8 a.m. to 4 p.m. We make your electrical jobs as easy as ABC. Call 754-382-528 or fax 754-3659. ABC Electrical Sales, for a better choice.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM, keep listening. The Morning Connection is pleased to join hearts and hands with the other members of the Best FM family to celebrate Black History Month. We have chosen to promote the strength and resilience of our people by echoing the call of Marcus Garvey for this mighty race to arise in power and perform the outstanding exploits which is our birthright. We are indomitable, courageous, and innovative, but we need to encourage and build each other into a unified force. Join us in our discussions, presentations, and cultural explorations as we examine the truths and traditions of our race in an effort to strengthen us in meeting the challenges of today.
Up you mighty race, accomplish what you will. Let's return to truth and traditions, right here on Best 100 FM, bringing it to you truthfully.
Veg and Prince Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vijay Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back, and I have to give a shout out to the guys online who are joining in the conversation on this one, Conrad and Earl. I gotta share what Earl has said. Well, of course, there is an overall agreement that Mr. Meadows' view is the views that he expressed really display misogynistic tendencies, some other tendencies too, but I will not repeat that one. Yes, it did always talking down to women, but Earl has 2 gems that I have to share with you. He said, this is a true story. In some black and white marriages, when the white man's friends came to visit the white friends and came to visit their white friends, right, and saw the black wife, they thought that the wives were maids. And then he says, in churches now, Percy, you gotta tell me if this is true. Some churches, when man and woman do something wrong, the pastor put the woman in the back bench and the man is free to sit anywhere. Is that true? It's not really? It's only the woman who gets benched?
Well, that is his experience. I've not had.
But they do put people in the,
but yeah, but if you
the bench of shame.
Bench of shame, they call it. No, but it is about the procedure. But for me, that has happened, and I've had to work with people in terms of bringing about redemption. But you don't put people at backbench. You allow people to sit, but you know from the eldership that we are working with people in terms of bringing resolution to the issues. You might ask them, for a time being, don't be in the choir or anything, because you know it is, but it is a part of what you call the process of help and discipline in regards to what is there. But that point is a real point, and it comes back to some of our core values here: respect, honor, how we see people in terms of how we deal with them. And Galatians speaks about that, you know, and Ephesians.
I was on Stock Farm Road on Saturday night.
So that's the paper today, yeah.
Yes, and they have made the headlines. Death traps. Let me tell you, that is not a road. That is a riverbed.
When rainfall, it does wash it out?
I mean, it's a riverbed. It's a riverbed that people have to navigate those waters to go to and from work. Is a disgrace. Like, I mean, there's a picture of it. It's a riverbed.
And she's saying it's a political vendetta.
And it has got progressively worse. You cannot be in the ruling party and talk about political vendetta.
Yeah.
That is not even open to you. But, you know, this MP, Mrs. Cuthbert Flynn, she too was on Twitter engaging in some swordplay. And she was the loser for it because she did. It's so funny that while Dennis Meadows is in one corner calling Crystal Tomlinson a baby mother number 13, Miss Cuthbert Flynn was in another corner of Twitter schooling her constituents on how to address her because they had referred to her as something like that woman, or you know, they use
other things.
Yes.
So they could say that it's a case of Meadows and Mr. Martin, who is a member of the Stock Farm Community Citizens Association, and said that despite multiple meetings and invitations, Cuthbert Flynn has not visited the community.
Well, she cannot travel on that road.
It's not SUV, man.
It's not reasonable for her.
You can't drive on those roads.
But that gives rise to some other things about MPs having a presence in the community, because there's no way, if she had to travel that road, listen, man, she'd have take her own money and fix it. Should not be talking about constituents don't want to hear that there's no money. They're just like a handful of things that you do for your community. Road, water, and electricity. Those basic infrastructure items are at the top of the list. At the top of the list. And there's no MP whose government is in power who should be talking about political vendetta. So you got her own parties out to get her?
Because she has said, no, I read the article, because took aim at Derek Simon, president of the Stock Farm community, saying who she has dubbed as being mischievous. But yet, in another place. You see, you know there is a pecking order in the political system.
Of course, there is. We've seen the Prime Minister's wife in her constituency, bridge get fixed practically overnight, and some people down in Trelawney are still struggling trying to get a much needed repair.
Several roads in North Central Carolina to be rehabilitated, and we see Everett Warmington along with the MP, who is a minister without portfolio in the Prime Minister's, which is Robert Morgan, fixing it. They must be even and just. Come on.
But you know what? Jamaicans need to advocate for that, which is another thing that Mr. Warmington was saying, that you must advocate, you must press for it. And when I say Jamaicans now, I mean, let's not leave it up to the people in that community to fight for the road, because usually it's in that state because they don't think people in that community have the weight, the political voice to advocate for what they need. I'm saying the rest of Jamaica needs to look for these areas that need help and add our voice to it. Which brings me to a conversation that we must have, our 1660. Tomorrow, please listen out for it. We are going to do a full presentation, including a promotion on this 1660 campaign that you and I launched. The producer has asked me to just say a little something about it and to have a lot more focus and form for it, so we can persons can be educated on what it is and can come on board. That 1660 campaign, meaning we want 60 communities across Jamaica positioned and working actively to change some fundamentals on the ground.
To bring about change.
As part of our recognition that when Jamaica reached 60 years under its own flag, there should be something substantial to show for it. And we, the people, can do it because we're doing it for ourselves. So this 1660 can become a very powerful voice advocating for change, not just in your immediate community, but when you fix the things in your community, let's start looking at what's happening in the communities around us, because an economy depends on a certain level of wellness in the overall body politic.
So our main thing is about advocacy, but beyond advocacy, it is about coalescing people around a common vision for an era in terms of change that you need to see happening. I think what triggered it for us was that lady who called from trial who says that we're under siege. So we, in a quick way, just outline what are the principles to bring about real change in communities, which is driven by the citizens, because they live in the era and they know what is happening. And if they've been left alone, so they say, well, we got to do something. But they're still good. Attorneys pulled to pay 5,000 DMR. They are MA fine for a sick old woman.
Yes.
And PNP rules on equal enforcement of law.
Oh no! Oh, PNP rules on equal enforcement of law.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought you were doing something else. So that's the story of the 69-year-old woman.
Yeah.
She's a street sweeper, so it said. They didn't say the circumstances in which she was charged for breaching the act, but she was also charged for disorderly conduct. That charge was dropped. The police gave evidence that she was that she took off her clothes.
And somebody said that's not.
And so there was an indecent exposure charge as well. The indecent exposure and the disorderly conduct, those charges were dropped, but the judge fined her for breach of the Disaster Risk Management Act. I'm not sure if it was curfew. It was not clear what the breach was. Was it curfew? Take a quick look and tell me if you can. She was charged for breaching the Disaster Risk Management Act, but it doesn't say what it was. But attorneys intervened. She pleaded guilty. A fine of $5,000 was imposed, and she didn't have the cash. And the attorneys in court kind of pulled together to put $5,000. Well, I tell you, I'm glad I'm not practicing law, because if we have to pull together to come up with $5,000, the practice of law looks like it is very. Because they were like checking their pockets, and this one put 1,000.
She collapsed in court.
While leaving court.
Yeah.
She appeared quite frail and so on and so forth. I don't know if she had been in custody up to that time. It didn't say. But it is a story of such stark, unmitigated cruelty That I mean, and everything about it. While you're glad that the lawyers jumped in and that they paid the fine and so on, why should there even be a fine?
Yeah, because
Just the condition of the woman should have caused the judge to be merciful. We talk about mercy. That is a woman who they should have dropped all the charges. And certainly to see, so the bit about the PNP expressing regret about how the law is being administered comes right in the face of Floyd Green and his friends prancing about at this hotel, and the DPP saying no charge, and a 69-year-old woman is before the court having to be given charitable services, so a fine of $5,000. You think God is not sleeping? As you were saying all of last week, be not deceived. God is not mocked.
And people are seeing
There's
it.
nothing in there that look like justice. Nothing, because the judge admonish and discharge her or something, but there should have been no fine. No fine. All of the charges should have been dropped. Every one of them should have been dropped.
She said, "Not guilty, Your Honor. Why would I expose myself? I'm a big woman. I shake." And then the indecent exposure.
Exposure. Says she take off the police. Says she take off her clothes.
And the police have to be careful. They have to be careful. They forget that they're Jamaicans.
That's why they can't get no pay.
They go get
They
pay,
deserve pay. They deserve to be treated better. But you look at the suffering they have to be going through. The good is suffering for the bad. Because the weight of the bad, and it's not many of them, because I'm sure there are more good than bad in the force, but the weight of their dishonest and perverse behavior is pulling them down. I want to make a comment on two other things that are happening. There was a story about loopholes in the regulation of the medical. There's a story about loopholes in the regulation of the medical fraternity coming out of, you may recall, a story being done about Patrice Charles, who is a dentist and who was under some regulatory investigation in the United States. So look at it. The FLA is complaining that they can't get information about a man from China. And Patrice Charles had a robust practice right in our backyard here, Florida, and was under regulatory sanction, and nobody in Jamaica seemed to have known until the Gleaner did their own expose. So, I mean, I say it for what it is. We're not looking, basically. So I make mention of it because here you have an established process for the regulation of certain professional bodies. And regulating doctors, quality of people who serve as doctors and so on is way more important than regulating lawyers, because lawyers can do all kind of other things, but they don't take care of your health. It's something to watch. Is really why I'm mentioning it, because right beside it you have now a judge has overturned the developer's permit that was granted to the McMasters for a development in I've forgotten which community. And what's interesting is not that it's the comments and the findings of the court as they went through. Not about the developers. Developers are entitled to push the envelope. Developers are in the business of making money.
By building houses.
We have put regulators in place to contain the excessive behavior, and certainly I am pleased to see that the court is taking a strict look at it, and that the planning authorities are under pressure to do right, and I see they're working their way across. There are some developers who have been in the media for certain type of developments and behavior, and the Prime Minister's wife is amongst them.
Oh, she's one of the persons?
She is a developer, and there is a development in the Leeds Flat area which has been in the news quite a bit for the last maybe 2 years. The landowner says that the arrangement was for a certain number of units to be on the land, and in the end, approval seemed to have been granted for an excessively large number of units, and there's a lawsuit about it, and anyone can go and research it.
Because the judge actually went and looked at it. You remember that when she made the ruling?
Yeah, but not that one. The other one? Yeah, there's several of them now. And the Prime Minister himself has declared war against developers. Chang has declared that developers who are
Them have laws.
money laundering, using
Laws can't do that. You know, like how the Al
like the
Capone-
anti-gang.
Yeah, the anti. No, I'm talking about no. I'm talking about Al Capone, how the racketeer and how they.
Of course, they have laws.
They just do the same thing. Yeah.
There's not. There's no doubt that there are laws, but it's interesting to see that the court. We've been praying and making declarations
Yes,
about the
ma'am.
administration of justice, but now to see that decisions are coming out, that shining a light on how rotten things are at the in the regulatory offices. That's just because NEPA, the KSMC or KSAMC, they're all being, the light is being shone on their activities. It's not looking good. The next step is to see what happens at the decision-making level now, where you should see people being removed from the positions they now occupy. All we keep hearing is the mayor coming out and saying that he's going to overhaul. But the truth of the matter is, it's rotten from top to bottom. So there's so much overhauling you can do. There's a point at which you pretty much have to remove.
Not overall. To start
from scratch.
That's not from scratch. You're gonna do that, but time to lock up some people.
Yeah, well, the punishment needs to fit the crime.
Yeah, because what we have is a lot of laws, but no enforcement and no people feeling the consequences.
All right.
And then we go into 30% hike in minimum wage. They are backing it. Business leaders back $9,000 plus a week minimum wage, but trade unionists want more. Some people are saying it should be doubled, but they are saying 30% is okay. And different players, somebody out of the security industry has said he's okay with that. But somebody made an important comment, and I go back to it in terms of if the minimum wage goes up, gets hit the hardest with it.
No.
Government.
Because they're a large employer.
Yeah, they're a large employer, and a lot of their people are paid just above the minimum wage.
Really?
Yes.
7,000 a week? People are being paid just above 7,000 a week?
I look at it.
You know that we pay 15,000 a week?
Who is we?
Me and you.
Okay.
What has we ever met? Me and you?
Yes, we don't.
And I'm feeling bad about it because I'm saying, wow, the price of things have gone up.
Tell me about it.
I
the inflation rate was 9.7% in January.
Well, let me tell you what I know. I know that when I look at my light bill, no matter what it is in terms of my actual consumption, and the line that says the amount due is twice whatever it is, because by the time they do the adjustment for foreign exchange and fuel charge, and then they put on GCT, and really of a fact, whomever is in the PNP that speaks on energy, is it Philip Powell or is it?
I don't know. Just have to.
The government need to take GCT off electricity bill.
They're not going to do that.
They need to. And,
it's the surest way of collecting revenue.
They need to. And you know why too? Since JPS has a license that gives them a guaranteed return on their investment. And JPS is also under great pressure because of the illegal abstraction of electricity. And it means that, and they also say that the number of persons who are taking from their network illegally exceed the number of registered users. Do you know that? There are more people thieving light than people who are registered to get light.
But you pay for it.
It means that me and you pay for it. That being so, why is the government also adding its weight to that burden? There should be no GCT on electricity.
There should be no GCT on your bank charges.
And there should be no GCT on bank charges, but that is another one. GCT on electricity accounts for, and they put it on after you pay GCT on the adjustment for fuel and these other things. There should be no GCT on it. That is the next thing we're going to fight for. Truth to Power says, good morning, hosts. When are we going to see action against corruption? No wonder the U.S. has to be saying that we have anti-corruption agencies, but no action is being taken against those at the top. It's coming. That's all I can say. at the moment. What do you think the minimum wage should be, first of all?
Well, based on what Neville tells us, it should be at least $15,000. $15,000 on a weekly basis. Yeah.
Well, I mean, and I feel like we've been at $15,000 per week.
From last year.
And no, from before that. And feeling that we really need to do increases, but until the government take GCT off electricity,
they can't do anything.
And some other things.
Rush, my dear,
it's really, 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 really hard. All right. After the
BBC.
8 o'clock break, we are going to open the lines. The numbers to call are 619-1508. I'm saying it early. 279-8473. Those are the numbers to call. And I can't believe I got this far in the morning without giving a very special greeting to my mother.
Yes, happy.
It's belated, happy. The birthday was right on time.
Belated, happy.
Belated, yeah.
Belated birthday greetings.
Belated birthday greetings. Yes, my mother is now an octogenarian. She has 8 hands, one for each decade. Yeah, my mother had celebrated her 80th birthday on Friday, surrounded by as many of her children as could make it, because I think actually only one did not make it. And as she said, one was borrowed by God.
Okay.
Because my brother, the child who followed me, died at an early age. Died at age 23 by violence. So she's had to contend with, but she celebrated her 80th, and it was really wonderful.
Always wonderful.
This was the first time in a long time that I spent the night with her at her house. Usually she would visit in Kingston, but given pandemic and so on, she has not left her throne room. No, well, she's been in Kingston for medical appointments, but outside of that, my sisters, I mean, everybody, and 1 or 2 people from the community. It was a family event. 1 or 2 people from the community dropped by. We never breached the Disaster Risk Management Act, so please don't nobody go try and arrest her. She's very strict on the protocol, so she was in one place, and however we did it, but it was really tremendous, and I greatly appreciated hearing those who paid tribute to her speak about her influence in the community and her influence in their lives. And for my own part, and even as I contemplated the exchange between Dennis Meadows and Crystal Tomlinson, I realized that so many of us don't fully appreciate the contribution that women make in the several roles that we occupy. And it's not making, how do I put it? It's not that I'm not lobbying for any kind of gender rights or equality or anything. It's just proper respect and appreciation. My mother is a woman of very fine intellect, and she had her own ambitions, career-wise, and things she wanted to do. But she got married young. She started to have her children young. Many times as a child, I thought that I saw things which I said weakness. I said, me not do that. Never happened to me.
Remember the declarations you've made on the program.
And then I came to a point in my own life when I said, if I can be a fraction of who she is, I would have done well. She sacrificed for her children, sacrificed her own ambitions. She took it. She swallowed things to maintain peace between husband and children, peace in the home. She was always mediating, teaching us to be more respectful of each other, more patient with each other, explaining to us the value of family. I grew up learning that my greatest strengths would be the network, the bond that I have with my siblings and so on. My father had 5 older children before he got married. She treated every one of them as her own. My eldest sister is like just a year or 2 younger than my mom. My eldest sister, my father was 22 years older than my mom. And so my eldest sister and my mother are contemporaries, but she took her, that big daughter, and treated her as if it was her child. To this day, the bond is as strong as ever. I don't know what it is about half sister or half brother. There were no halves. Every child and all of them paid tribute to her in the same way. And she was a young girl.
I understand that.
Yeah,
I could say it for my mom.
Yeah. So I learned a lot from her, and this weekend I heard everybody saying the same thing. So I know that is integrity. The same woman that raised me is the same woman that everybody else saw and interacted with. She never went out to work until I think they were like just my youngest sister and brother were in high school. She never went out to work. And then she went out. She worked at the PC Bank, the People's Cooperative Bank. The lady that she worked with at the bank came, and I mean, in a very tearful tribute, she said that Miss Avis, which is my mom's first name, she said, when they came to audit that bank, and my mother is an accountant or an auditor, when they came to audit that bank, Miss Avis accounts, in fact, if they found anything amiss, it was like 1 cent over in the pan. She kept books like perfect. And that was in the dark ages. Anyway, it was just so impressive to hear them speak of her. And then when you look at what's going on today, the level of, with all the resources that we have at the highest levels in government,
corruption.
We can't keep our books straight. The FLA is complaining that saying that no, it's not that we have not made our report, it's because the Auditor General hasn't done our books and so on and so forth. And I think there's my mother. You know, they've written the PC banks out of existence.
Yeah, they did that.
And the PC banks were a crucial part of how farming communities got their act together and with some sense of independence, because you were saving. It really was like a big partner thing that you ran, and my mother was at the heart of it, gave her access to the farmers in the community, and so she was very well known. The producer showed me a story that kept making me smile, and I have one thing to say about it, because
we found it funny.
Yeah. The Universal Service Fund. The police are apparently hunting down the criminals who stole.
West Rural.
It is which community?
West Rural.
St. Andrew.
You know where that is?
Where is that? Same Miss Cuthbert Flynn? Oh dear. That is definitely a political vendetta. No laughing matter.
No, because we have to recognize it's our own. Yeah.
So the Universal Access Fund is, of course, in the news, courtesy of Minister Vaz, announcing how they're using the money. Carriers like my company donated. I have to say donated. Monies that, were extracted from us. And they're putting up these wireless access points to allow persons in the communities to have free internet access. And thief make off with the radio gear. God bless them. They did?
So that
yes, that's what it says.
They must have their own thing.
I didn't get to read the story fully, but police are hunting down the criminals who stole the radio gear. Yes? Is that the story? Okay.
How it's going to work? It is the way you're using for universal access points is different technology versus what the carriers have. Is there a difference, or?
No, they're getting it from the carriers.
Okay.
But you would set up let me see the story properly. All right. Search on for suspects who stole Wi-Fi access point in West Rural St. Andrew. The police are searching for criminals who made off an access point from a free Wi-Fi facility that was scheduled to be launched last week in the Tony Hill area of the West Rural St. Andrew constituency. Who is speaking now? CEO Daniel Dawes ripped culprits who made off with their equipment, but it sounded like they hadn't yet installed it. He also called on the police to conduct a thorough investigation in a bid to arrest those responsible. Someone without any conscience went and stole one of the access points. We have been rolling out these things throughout Jamaica, starting all the way from C4 in St. Thomas, all the way into Westmoreland. And we have never had one case. We must make an example, blah, 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 and it goes on and on. 3 communities in each of the 63 constituencies are to have the access points the UNF previously stated. So you understand that they're putting up a free network in the middle of people's competitive telecoms environment. The government is putting up a free network. Anyway, yeah, I mean, there's much I could say about that, but I will leave that for another time. What I want to say, however, is good morning to Pastor, what's his name again? I think it's Robert Stewart. I wrote down his name. Where did I write his name? Anyway, I doubt he's listening because we don't have coverage there right now from my community, because I was in the community for the weekend celebrating with my mom.
What is your community again?
Mount Moriah in St. Anne.
Mount Moriah is a very powerful place.
Yes, it is. It is the most important real estate in the history of Christianity. And it is from there. And Abraham tried to sacrifice Isaac on Mount Moriah. For those of you who are wondering.
We're talking about moving to another level. Mount Moriah.
Yeehaw. Okay, so to the Gwendolyn Kenyon Literacy and Numeracy Center, established in Mount Moriah in honor of Miss Gwen, who was a charitable lady of excellent character. I knew her. Miss Gwen sold in the market. She got on the market truck, came into the city or wherever, and she sold farm produce. But Miss Gwen took care of so many children. Just from
never
that,
had any children?
From that, I think she may have had one child. I'm not quite sure, but there are many who credit Miss Gwen with giving them the foundation. And so when she died, they got together and they created a trust and established a center in the community. Beautiful place. So okay, so I'm in the country, and the catering service that was firing up to feed my mom's guests ran out of coal. So yours truly was dispatched to pick up a bag of coal. And I was idling outside of this beautiful, landscaped building and saw that it was...
It is wonderful. It is wonderful.
What was wonderful?
The building.
You're looking at it and get the picture of it.
Wonderful.
Yeah, man. I'll show you in color this booklet. So I saw a man come out, and of course, with time on my hand, I managed to get an introduction. Well, I greeted him. I heard he was a pastor, so I was bold enough to greet him and asked him some questions about how the center was prospering. And he mentioned to me that they did not have internet access, and he had obtained a quote from some nearby provider, and it was like $78,000
per month.
Yeah, $78,000. Suffice it to say, I said, "What haven't you heard about the Universal Access Fund? They're going around the island lighting up free hotspots and whatnot." I said, "Give me your information. I shall get in touch with them for you." And you know what? I plan to do so. I know the Universal Service Fund, Access Fund, very well. They rebranded. And I think it is a shame that these things are being... He hadn't even heard about them. We're doing all these things in the city areas. We're doing all these things in the areas where we think we can get political mileage. But the people who need it know very little about it. So I'm going to stand in the gap for the Gwendolyn Kenyon Literacy and Numeracy Center. I shall harangue and harass the Universal Access Fund to get a hotspot installed in that rural community. And I'm going to talk about it and tomorrow when we speak on our 1660, because these are the things we need to do. When communities have a desire for self-improvement and they're prepared to put their shoulder behind the wheel and not wait on government, then we've got to meet them somewhere. And all of us who know something and have a way of influencing what happens next need to be a part of it. So I've done a lot of work in times past. Get that Universal Service Fund established. I know its purpose. I know that it is not currently living to purpose, and I will not stand by and allow it to become some kind of political slush fund to be for any area of the country that is lagging in the polls, without making an effort to see it go in the places that it needs. And I'm just imploring everybody else who have a similar sentiment to let's work together and get this done. If you are doing, if and it's not a if, almost all communities across Jamaica have areas where students need to have better access to the internet at affordable price, however it's going to get done. The subsidies that come from the Universal Access Funds are meant to go in that direction. Let us, beat on the gates. Let us advocate strenuously for these resources to be deployed in the areas that need it most. Will I get a signal when it's time? How are we doing? Okay.
So we can continue to delve. I saw something in the paper on Saturday as we talk about 1660.
Yes.
About this young lady who's just doing a feeding program.
Oh, and was being awarded some. Yeah, man. She was.
Kid and James.
Yes.
By God to feed the homeless.
Yeah.
Wow. And Sagicor Foundation.
Right. Let's give her right.
And then, of course, Cornwall College class of 1985 gives 1.65 million in scholarship. Starts Art Initiative.
Am I terrible, Pastor Percival? Because I see those things happening. I applaud them, but I don't make any great mention of it. Am I terrible for wanting to see more and for just focusing on encouraging persons to do more of the same?
But but I agree with you, because there are some things, like for government, when I see government doing what they are elected to do and they're making a big thing out of it, I'm not impressed personally. Because you are elected based on the plans that you have put forward to bring about prosperity, or what's the word I'm not using?
Flourishing.
Flourishing
The
for
word
all
of that,
Jamaicans,
yeah.
for all Jamaicans. Not going to sound political. So if somebody is doing something and that is a job to do, the Bible says, wait a minute, saying that's the way you're supposed to do it. In the
You're an
Bible,
unprofitable servant.
You must do what you need to do.
I
when
always
people
find that
think-
so cute.
Yeah. So my simple thing is, if that is so, then do it yourself. Don't make a big note of it. Because our expectations as a nation have become so low that we say, oh, okay, all right.
We're too easily impressed.
Yeah.
I am not easily impressed.
So what I'm, so
get
my
out
thing
of the
is
way.
that when people do that, and the word of God says, you must not show your giving up arms before people.
The
Do it
elephant should
quietly.
know what the right
Yeah,
one.
but
Give it quietly.
yeah, do it because it still is a drop in the bucket. When we see flourishing across all sectors of our country, all areas of our country, so there's not a big divide between the rural and the city. then
Yeah,
I have-
or the nature of the divide is not one that shows that that the rural is lagging, or because there will always be a difference. I mean, many times I drive into the countryside and I say, "Oh God, I don't want this to change. It's so beautiful." But I know that to maintain that look and that naturalness comes at a cost. The people who live there have to forego certain kinds of development. So I think I regard myself as needing to participate in ensuring that the areas of improvements that they need to live comfortably in that environment, that they have it. They have it. They must have good road. Transportation should be available. Technology should be available. And you can still decide that you want to farm and live in a close a state of nature as you want to. But the things that are important, health services should be accessible. There's a young lady mourning. It made the paper this morning. First time mom, 28-year-old girl, had her baby. It was a premature delivery. She was discharged the same day the baby born. Or anyway, she was discharged very soon after birth and had the baby for 2 days, baby unresponsive after she feed the baby twice. And she is blaming the hospital because she says she's a first-time mom. They send her home with a preterm baby. Baby, she thinks the baby should have remained in the hospital for observation. Naturally, she's blaming herself too, but she's blaming that she sees that she was sent off. She was discharged prematurely, she thinks.
That's a preterm baby. So normally they says, yeah.
Nobody not send you home the same day.
Baby was born at
if you look at it-
12:46, and
What does it say about when she was discharged?
discharged along with her baby 3:30 p.m. the same day.
Oh God. She had the baby for 2 days. Baby dead. And this is, somewhere in the Mandalorian. Those things ought not to be. Those things ought not to be.
As we talk about things in the pipeline, people talking about things in the pipeline.
Yeah.
We mourn the passing of Paul Robertson.
How is that in the pipeline?
But I say that is a term that he can't, and everybody made it a joke. He was saying there are a lot of investment projects in the pipeline. So every time he got up to speak, everybody said, the pipeline man come again, things are in the pipeline.
I tell you.
I did that deliberately.
Yes, I despair of you. And your popular at funerals, clearly not with the dead. Your popularity at funerals, that's making me suspicious now.
Lord have
Yeah, we
mercy.
are indeed acknowledging the passing of Paul Robertson. I tell you, there's a cycle to life that it actually makes it easy on survivors to some extent. Paul Robertson had disappeared from view, hadn't he?
Yeah.
Yeah. So reading of his death is like, oh, yeah, okay. Still, he was a minister of government at some. I know he was general secretary of the PNP.
After the shell shocking.
Yeah, and as you've put him in the pipeline. There's a question posed by Mr. Brown on the live chat, and if anyone has information, please call me with it. He says they have White People Day for 2 days at Puerto Rico in Jamaica. Is that true? White People Day. What does it mean? The beach is open to visitors for 2 days? What, Jesus? That can't be. That has to be. Listen, those internet model. Those internet model commercials. This is my boyfriend. He's a supermodel. And they're like, what? It says, oh, I met him on the internet. I feel that is one of those things. There's no way I would. Do I wear a hat? There is no way in Jamaica that the government could have anything that says that beach is only open to white people. No way, no how. That is internet propaganda. You saw it on the internet, Mr. Engineer?
Yeah, but
You mean you went by Puerto Rico and saw a sign that says white people only? And a video of a sign at Puerto Rico that said white people only? They stop them and say, because you're white, you're not white? Listen to me, that's a prank. That is a prank.
That can't be right.
No, that is a prank. Hey, people make all kind of trouble on the internet. You know.
I've seen that already,
They will all make up their own sign and go stand up down there with it. Let me tell you, not even the white people would participate in that because they would feel sure it is a trick. White people, if you see a sign that say white people only, just know it's a trick because that could mean, no, I don't believe it. Still, I would like to hear. And I'm surprised that if it's making the rounds to the point where someone in Canada is raising it or someone out of Jamaica is raising it, I would think that the managers of the Puerto Rico operation should at least dispel the notion that Jamaica has gone mad. And there no.
Like, they're going mad.
Of
I've been to
course,
Puerto
that could
Rico and we were on vacation. We went.
No, but it's
I'm saying,
did that a long time ago?
Just
Years
last
is
in the
long
summer.
time?
No, last year summer.
Yeah, but they're talking about something happening now.
I'm wondering if no, it don't make no sense. So we're asking them to please respond. Is it true? Is it not true? Or if anybody else knows about it,
yes,
yeah, could respond to it.
Yes, I would like the lines be opened. Yes, let that be the first thing. Somebody from the St. Anne area, please do call and let Pastor Percival and myself know what's going on at Puerto Rico. Because we have one or two people who are now saying, could there be a Black People Day too, please? They don't seem to.
Take everything for sure.
Yeah, they're saying like, could we have Black People Day? He said, could no Black People Day at a beach happen in Jamaica? Oh no, it's a different question. Early saying because he mentioned Michael Manley. He's saying, could Michael Manley have got away with having a Black People Day at the beach?
Oh,
oh well, nobody would even.
Lines are
attempt that.
open. First line call coming in.
Percy, who are those women you're looking at?
Some fundraiser.
Oh, okay.
Hanover Charities. They do good work.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning.
Good morning to you.
Welcome.
Is this Minette?
Yes, this is Minette Lawrence.
Oh, this is Everett from Sunshine.
Hi, Mr. Everett. How are you doing?
I'm fine. No, you're talking about Puerto Rico.
Yes, please. Tell me what you know about it.
It's not a white people day, it's a tourist day. Yes, and I have a clip with the Minister of Tourism explaining it.
Oh.
Yes.
What does the minister say about it?
He's saying it's based on the COVID and the DRMA Act and all kind of stuff. And so when the cruise ship come in,
yes,
because the take-up of vaccine is so low in Jamaica, then they have to protect the visitors and stuff like that, essentially.
Yes, yeah.
Why do we
that I was aware of, actually. That's why I wondered if it was just visitors, because and people are still chafing at that because it's kind of tough to see visitors using the beach. So are visitors allowed to use the beach on the days that the cruise ship not in, or we have still?
As far as I know, anybody can go there, but on those 2 days, it's just cruise ship people.
Ah, okay, because they don't want to.
To me, it still don't make no sense.
Not making any sense at all, my brother.
Then on the day when cruise ship don't come, the Jamaicans and the visitors can't come. Why we don't want protecting?
Lord have mercy,
my brother. You see this narrative. It's becoming this mandate narrative. It's not making sense anymore in terms of what they're continuing to push. Data is out there, but we are refusing to acknowledge data. And then what emerged over the weekend is that CDC, which everybody is following, deliberately have said, no, we're not going to release this data because it's going to cause for vaccine
But it's imploding anyway.
Yeah, it's imploding, but vaccine hesitancy is going to increase. But
yeah, but you have to understand it about a person that our data they want to publish is because we live in the living room of the USA.
Yes.
So anything the USA says, then we just forget. No matter what happened in Europe, what's happening in India, what's happening in Israel, we don't want people to know about that. But the US agenda come with money.
Yeah. But it's imploding though.
So we follow the money.
Yeah.
But it's imploding right in their faces.
We all this month we have been talking about giving ourselves some better choices by creating different alignments. We've talked about what can be accomplished with a better relationship with Africa, and we've talked about more self-help, community-based initiatives that we can take care of right here on the ground. And it's my hope that more and more Jamaicans will see the wisdom and just rise up and move in that direction. But thank you so much, Everett, for that clarity. I knew that really couldn't be as outrageous as what people did.
Yeah.
But to many people, cruise ship is just as bad.
Yeah, man. I believe we should be fair. They are too protected for cruise ship people, and the other perhaps should be for Jamaicans.
Of course, yes. Yeah. But, you know, a lot of our leaders don't have the humility to say, all right.
We made a mistake.
We're let's move it. We're moving in this direction now. Just bear with us. And to some extent, we have to encourage them and give them the support. So, because at the end of the day, we're the ones who benefit when good sense returns to its rightful place.
Oh yeah.
All right. Thanks very much.
Looking forward to seeing you Tristan, you know.
Oh yes.
In the 60, I'm hoping that we are number one on the 1660.
Yeah. Yes. After trial.
Yeah, man.
Trial is number one.
Just come to culture yard, man, where the vibe is right.
All right.
It is done, my friend.
Mystic flowing in the air, you know.
It is done. It is done.
Call us and give us a proper date so we can do that for you.
Yeah. Now the producer is on it because I have Everett's number from before.
Right.
We had talked about Haiti.
All right. Right, definitely.
Yes. See, I have not forgotten. Thank you so much.
Yeah, man, you're welcome.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning, my sister.
How are you, brother?
Good, I'm good. Morning, Pastor.
Don't know what this weekend, friend. All right.
Yeah, man, you told me now, but I don't. Yeah, man. You know, since you asked, you know.
Yes.
I wasn't going to say anything, you know, but I'm going to mention it since you said something to me. And it's really, I don't need to then. Me and a friend was out by, you know, you ever go by the mall yet?
Yes.
Where there's the old theater?
Yes, right.
All right, so we were sitting down there, and a lady claimed that I don't know why these people aren't following me.
Them follow you?
Yeah, she claimed that she is a Christian and she wanted to talk. I mean, the person was there in the conversation. The lady just almost come sit almost between us and actually ever give herself to the Lord and all. And it was so upsetting. You know.
Please tell me what you dealt with.
I didn't say anything. I just stood there. My friend was open to interact with her.
Okay.
But I didn't say anything.
All right then.
Because I felt so upset that what I was going to say, it was, you know. So I'm just
you know, I tell you something. If I were a therapist, you would be my number one client. I would put you Monday morning first slot.
Yeah, man.
Because you really need to be unlocked. You need to express and defend your own position. Why are you hesitant to do that?
No, but I'm not the one who afraid to do that, you know.
No, you're not afraid to do it to me on the radio, but tell the come and right there in your presence, breaching your right, and you never almost in your lap she come with her.
One other thing about my lady friend was accommodating to the.
Okay.
Yes,
all right.
But even so, it's two of you.
So me just make it roll, and after the lady gone, me just explain to her that was very rude and bad manners. You don't come into the space. You can't listen to two people sitting down together and talking, and you claim that you want to minister to them as what you. I just come in and excuse me.
Okay, so you did speak to the evangelist.
No, I didn't. I didn't speak to her.
Oh, you were sharing your views with your lady friend.
Yes. Yeah,
but it's not your lady friend who breached your rights.
Yeah, but sometimes you just feel like.
All right, me understand.
I know I was going to say would be very embarrassing. I was going to say sometimes I don't hold back, you know, but I just want to go on because you know.
Patient, long suffering. You're loving the neighbor.
All right, so on to the reason why you call us this morning.
The reason why I call is this video what I saw with the beast sound
right. Puerto Rico.
Yes.
Puerto Rico. Now, at first when I saw it, you know, I was very upset, you know. And before this gentleman called and explained a little thing, I'm still upset because, listen, we are in with the nature of how we have been treated when it comes to beaches in this country.
Mm-hmm.
And for us to have a beach now where they say, well, it's only tourists only. You know, if our beaches were open to us, we could go there and enjoy ourselves. Then I don't think this would make a big difference.
Yes.
All right, you know.
I agree with you on that.
We have been restricted for not. They take away some of our best beaches and deny us access. And for now, because I start two Jamaicans walk up to the place and they turn them back, you know, and the video.
Okay.
And the person who was narrating at the video was talking and saying. So the government have to be careful, you know. We can't because of the US dollars, you know. We need the US currency, you know. But we have to be careful. We can't operate like how we are operating, you know. We all is traveling from St. Anne, from St. Mary, right to Montego Bay. There's hardly any beach. All you can do is go and look at the night Caribbean. So you can't find a beach where you can go and just stop your car, take off your clothes and just put on your trunks and go and take a swim, you know. There's hardly any beach you can do that, you know.
Because there is the hotels and the property different have
right.
Yes.
The government has sold hard those beach.
Yeah.
And for someone to come down to Port Sico Beach and it is not advertised in the paper that is
but it's close to the public on these specific days.
I've never heard it. I don't know if it's advertised.
I've never heard it. I've never heard it myself.
I'm going to journey there now. And when you go inside there, you tell the boy you can't go in the beach because it's a tourist. And when you can see white people are about the place that's going to be.
I'm telling you.
It's all salting at the one.
That one is impossible to. Let us see what the Jamaican people really do with that one.
What government?
I want to see.
These little fellows, we call them, these little fellows that win the election, them go to parliament and go make laws and do all them kind of things. They don't have no vision at all. They don't know what they want for this country. They don't have vision. All them can think about is the next win the next election. And when they win the next election, it allows them to live the type of life that they want to live. Not to develop the country. Because you can't develop because with money alone, you know, everything has to go together.
Yes, it is. In fact, many times money is the least of it because people will come together on some vision around a vision, and they will make sacrifices.
What is the sense of pride being Jamaican? You can imagine the two Jamaicans where they are turning back now.
Yes.
And what's the feeling? You can
my brother, I don't want to say it on air. We need to take the break. So you've left us with something to think about because I'm having some conflicting thoughts as to the government's treatment of that issue. My first thought is that it's wrong. It's wrong. That's my first thought.
Like this country,
become second-class citizens in our own country.
In our own country, they don't have no ratings.
Violence wasn't in this country. And that was very difficult to live in Jamaica. I go on to sell out Jamaica to other people.
Oh, yes. All right, brother.
And the violence make some of us can't live in this country.
Yes, because
it take US dollar. Actually, so sell out Jamaica to the Chinese and the Americans and put to one side like they put it on reservation, you know.
There are no ready takers in our current condition, so maybe that really is sparing us. All right, let's take the break, my brother, because we've gone past the 8:30.
All right, my sister.
Thank you so much.
Something to talk about. So
call us back, please. Okay.
We'll be right back.
What should a taxi service do for you? On-time taxi service is more than just a ride to the other side of town. They offer clean and spacious vehicles, reliable service, and promise to always look out for their customers. They'll come when you call and take you where you want to go on time.
From anywhere at all. You can call us on 926-3866.
We are something special on the road.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving.
My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
What's happening? Keep listening.
One in.
A hurricane we name, and we rough, whether we are man hurricane or woman hurricane. We want you to know that we come here to mash up building, blow down things and take life, flood out place. We no ramp, we no respect no one, so no take no chance with we. Listen to Adprem and prepare.
Hurricanes do happen, so Be prepared. Yes, be prepared.
A message from the Office of Disaster Preparedness and Emergency Management.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
Best 100 FM.
The Morning Connection is not your usual talk show. We aim to stimulate discussion and chart new paths to self-empowerment. So please join us, Minette and Percy, on The Morning Connection, Mondays to Thursdays, 6 a.m. to 10 a.m. on Best 100 FM.
Best 100.5 FM brings you youth empowerment Resilience, a 30-minute program with Royton McLaren every Monday from 7:30 to 8 p.m. Your Monday nights will not be the same again. Managing stress, trauma, let's talk on youth empowerment and resilience with Royton McLaren on Best 100.5 FM every Monday.
We got Chemistry Link, where we go in the streets to find out from the people what is hot and what is not, and so much more. And guess what? You can now voice your birthday shout-outs on our WhatsApp line at 876-438-9442, and we'll play them live on air. So what are you waiting for? Turn up Tuesdays from 5 to 7 p.m. right here on Best 100 FM, the station that is sizzling every day.
Vegam Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Vegam Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Welcome back and good morning to the caller who's on the line. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Hello, Miss Minute. Good morning.
Good morning.
Morning.
Yes, and Pastor, good morning. Yes, ma'am. I hear on news Saturday morning with Mr. Ardley Shaw and with the rising of fear increase again. One thing I would like to know, Miss Minute, in the name of Jesus, are them same people that tell you face, if you vote for them, then we move the minimum wage to $15,000 a week, and we can't catch the hit.
Can't reach, yes.
Every day that you go in a supermarket, something real. And less than $15,000 a week, me not see where can help. If 15,000 can't give me help too much more.
Thank you, because the 15.
So me want to know, a tool around this country, you know, one for the rich and one for the poor. The poor man no talk.
Poor man have talk, you know. They have to mobilize.
But you know, she's right about the double standard, and it is for us who suffer under it to break it down, and those of us who can start a conversation. That is what we're doing, and we thank you for expressing it so well. You know, the gangster who them have on trial say that they think him an idiot, that him don't understand the law, and that is always the mistake that is made. Underestimating the will of the people, the good sense of the people, and our ability to move. But we can do it.
Believe me, believe me, it's like I'm happy to live, right? Over the liquor they get. Because if you come on in this minute, believe you me, I'm sure I put one penny one side. I hit me up that my thing of mistake, because as far as I see there are people who are employed, you know, coming like, you know, because whether you want it or not, I think job not the young, you have to buy things for yourself.
Yes.
I mean, I understand what going on in this country with poor people. Poor people under it, poor people under it.
I know it. I'm better positioned than most, and I'm feeling it. So I always just imagine. But as Pastor say, we're going to unite and do something about it. And even if it don't work in our lifetime, we must lay a track that our children can follow and find a way to a better place.
I miss minute.
So keep the fight going.
God is God, Miss Minute.
And
God
he is
is
not
God,
sleeping.
and whenever a person believes God cannot see them, God is an unseen God, still neither sleep nor slumber. Because when you look into the person can pay the $15,000 a week, and they are doing like they can pay amount over, have to buy up to yourself with that mighty man. No, but God is able to see to deliver us,
Yes,
neither
he
sleep
is.
nor slumber.
That is true, and he has made it clear that the fact that he doesn't do anything right away doesn't mean that he agree with it. A lot of people think that because they're getting away with certain behaviors, it means God has condoned it and given them permission. And he has made it very clear that don't believe that because I don't respond immediately that I am winking at your behavior. The day will come when they're going to be accountable. I know that. That's why I don't take any chance. Whatever I can do or say right now, I do it. I say it because I don't want to be called to account for my misbehavior or my failure to act. And you're doing your part by just speaking out as you have this morning. I thank you for that.
Thank you for calling us.
Okay, Miss Minute.
All right.
God bless you and Pastor, Mama, and keep up the good work.
You too, Mommy. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Yeah, about the beach there.
Yes.
Remember Banco?
Yes.
You know that American tourist was sick at the hotel there in the 50s. I think it was about 57.
Yeah, I remember. Never been it, but we've heard the story.
And a doctor was there to look after the little girl, and it was school holiday, so he'd have a little 6-7-year-old daughter, so he took her with him. And they were at the
hotel.
The swimming pool side, kids were jumping in the water, and she took her slipper and put her one her foot in the water. And they had the hotel people to be allowed to wash and wash out the pool. You never heard of it?
Yeah,
I never heard of it.
Yeah.
Yes, it happened. And in the late 50s, about 57, 58. Just below Town Prison.
I know, yes.
Yeah.
So a black child wash her foot, put her foot in the pool.
No, just it up to the pool.
Dip her toe in the pool, and they had to empty the pool and
the other people to bail it out and wash it out.
And wash it out. And here we have our own Minister of Tourism.
They not stop. Black people couldn't, they never employ black people in a bank. The only little place where a black woman could get was the court missus and sanitary inspector. Jamaica no change. We not get independent. It's still under slavery. Minister come on television, policeman come on television and talk about the Queen police. You see the news?
Yes. Yes. That is true because they're in the Queen's uniform.
Yeah. We don't get no independence. It's just a sham.
And that's why too, the police is a different kind of civil servant because the Constitution.
Police was never found to protect us. It's found to keep us down.
Right. Yeah. And they've not changed it. When you look at the Constitution, there are some offices that continued under the Queen.
Held in Her Majesty's prisons.
Yeah. And the police are among them. That's why they treat the police like that when it comes to their wage situation.
It's like they're supposed to be paying them.
It's not really a wage, I guess it's a stipend.
There's school here, but I remember in 1959, a boy passed a scholarship to go to KC. Full scholarship. And when he turned up for September morning, they wouldn't allow him in.
And Casey was a black man school? Or JC had one at Casey?
Yes, JC.
Oh, JC, yeah, man.
Yeah.
Casey's a black man school.
My man was chief minister at the time, heard about it. He let his father take him to the little boy home the following day and took him. That was something that any ordinary Jamaican could go there.
Okay, yeah.
That happened in 1959.
Okay. Thank you for this place.
School, they know poor black people could go there.
Yeah.
Yes. And
the black people there after their parents have money.
And I know you're making the point that to see a continuation of the same philosophy in you guys is a disturbing thing for one person to see.
It hasn't changed.
It hasn't changed. Yeah, it hasn't changed. In fact, it just get bigger because now you see a minister of government closing the beach to the citizens. On a basis that just don't seem right. It's not sitting well with me either. Thank you so much, my brother. I don't know where that particular issue is going to go, but I know that it's not going to die.
Yeah.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for calling us.
Okay.
It's our local historian.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Oh, good morning, Mr. Clark.
How are you, sir?
Yeah, good morning, Pastor.
Morning, Russ. How you doing?
Yeah, I'm good. You see, the thing there about the hotel, not the line up, you tell me that.
About Myrtle Bank?
Yeah, I remember
no,
one time I go down,
It's not a lie. We know it's true. It's true. Yeah.
I go down there to do a wedding for a lady one time, and the lady booking and booking because that was to do some interview that was to make a guy and the thing.
So which hotel is that you're talking about now?
The hotel that close by the call on the rich manager man.
Where? Which parish?
The hotel that the gentleman talking man. They put up on the YouTube.
No, man.
That's a different
He was talking about Myrtle Bank in the 50s.
But in Kingston, the one you're talking.
The one that is in water.
Yes, that's where I realized you're talking about a more modern day event.
Yeah, we want some of it.
Okay, so you were booked into that hotel to conduct interviews, and what happened?
Yeah. So I booked in there now to do the wedding because they get all the people. We were doing wedding, the video man, picture man, photographer, everybody. Because we have to start from early now. So we have to do the interview, so we have to book in from overnight. So I get up now and in the morning and my routine exercise and go down at the beach. I tell me, say, we can go on the beach. We say, ask me if me booking at the hotel. Actually, I'm not talking to Jamaica.
Yes.
So I say, ask me if me booking at the hotel. I say, you don't book the hotel or not. So me jump the fence and jump over and go over now. At the same time, we lead them where things that we are going to use them come down at the same time. And the security are running me down. And I say, so the car wants to wait. And they haven't thought, no, yeah, man. He never knows any.
So you're a guest.
Yeah, me like guest at the hotel. So
okay, what do you put that down to? Your color? What did you put that down to? What do you think he was responding to? Your appearance, your color, your skin, your voice, all of the above?
No, he have a little picture man like the car. He all the camera and all that.
Oh, I see.
Them have me there. Yeah. That's it.
So now you understand that was taking place between you and a black security guard?
A black security guard, the man run me down.
All right.
Black button, I run me down.
That sounds hilarious. So it sounds like you were running.
So me I tell you, say, I deal one going on the car. Every year I start with that. I deal there because the man know my rights and no law. So when him start to, to say, it's the ordinary type like when check. In back off and the people come down.
So you know what I was highlighting for you, Ras, is that was
that's about 2017, you know.
Yeah, but I'm saying to you, that is a man who look like you and talk like you, treating you in that way.
Big thick, strong man.
Yeah. That is not the hotel manager or a white man or it is a Jamaican interpreting a stupid law to penalize his own, and that is the mindset that we need. Elephant fit bind into it.
Some man come over there, come on our house for land. So I have to keep in touch and I make some joke on them. So most of the hotel them and people can't go on them the beach them. Nobody can go on the beach them. You know, so me the Dominican Republic. The Dominican Republic Caribbean. And you see what the people make the beach? They make the beach, the hotel them far in. They should make them far in.
From the shoreline, so locals don't have a problem having access. But
and they have swimming pool and everything. And people exercise and run. And everybody, all the people living at the area. To mix with the tourists then. So we know what about Jamaica.
Yeah, we need to change that. That's a full problem. Yeah, they fought for that. They fought for that because it is such a small space that if you take away one beach, you have taken away all beaches.
And people have 365 beach. You think the man can go in a hotel there and people can go up on the beach and enjoy themselves?
Yeah, they have a lot more sensitivity. Anyway, Ras, I need to take another call. I have another call on the line. Was there something else you wanted to?
That's what I'm saying now. I do the minimum wage.
Yes. Well, what can one say about that?
15 grand.
That is my view too.
Yeah, because watch me now. When you look on the inflation and how things gone up, you can't go for less than that. You understand? And you see them that try to go around it, because they try to cut it out. But if I say, I can't work, so them come 9,000 or what? 9,000. Yeah,
No. All right, my brother. Let's see where it goes, because really it's a people issue, and you're right. If we want it done, then we have to step up and do what is necessary, whatever that is.
Yeah, man.
All right. Blessed you. Good morning. Welcome to the morning action.
Good morning.
Good morning, Miss Mary.
Mary, good morning, Pastor Palmer. Good morning, Mr. Lauren.
Good morning, Sister Mary. How are you?
I'm blessed and highly favored despite on the tired side. But I just thought, first of all, let me wish Mrs. Lawrence, Miss Minette, your mother, belated happy birthday.
Thank you, Miss Mary.
You are very special people. Some of them, not all mothers. Today is my mother's birthday.
Oh, okay. Well, I'm sure you are reflecting on the memories.
Yes, those people just move on. They don't die, they just move on. Anyway, I just want to say a few things, but bear with me. This video with the beach.
Yes.
I got this thing about the Puerto Rico. I got 2 videos on it. Somebody sent the first one out of New York to me. What do you think been going? Pardon me?
Listening, Mary. Go ahead and speak. We're listening.
Yes. And the Myrtle Bank thing now, apart from the little girl that the gentleman spoke about.
Yes.
There's another incident that changed Myrtle Bank. There was a journalist, Evan Blake, Barbara Blake Hannah. She was at the BBC.
Mm-hmm.
He was a journalist, and he went down there and jumped in pool and swam, and that changed Myrtle Bank.
That's Barbara Blake's father, Evan Blake.
Evan Blake, he was a journalist. I knew the man, and he was married about 4 times. I knew his her she used to work at store like a consultant, she's a very nice lady.
Okay, so that was the second incident in regards to...
He used to frequent 50 Dinner Road, a lady, a beautician lady, Ida Thomas and her niece, Miss Henry. They had a big holiday. The people would go there at Christmas time, like 2 days before Christmas, and you would stay there and they would serve you sandwiches and so. And the lady that was name was Angel and Restriction. So that is how it is.
Okay.
Evan Blake, the journalist.
Okay.
And Miss Mariah, Miss Ness.
Yes.
You know a gentleman named E.W. Marshall used to have a bus service named Northliner?
I don't know Lionel.
Yes, we know it.
That was my cousin. Back to that was my cousin, E.W. Marshall. This thing with Mr. Bartlett, Edmund Bartlett. He's behaving as though he owns Jamaica, and he's coming on the radio and talking about how much money the tourist industry makes. But he's not coming back to Jamaica. It's not coming back to Jamaica. Montego Bay should be in a better position, and the workers at the hotel, they should be better paid and housing and so.
That is true. The extent to which he advocates to support the tourists and giving visitors what they want, he should advocate with similar energy for hotel workers and industry workers to be treated well.
Right, because we should remember 2020, when the beginning of 2020, when the pandemic started, the whole world shut off. So you can't talk about, we should make agriculture our number 1 priority in Jamaica, don't you think so?
I think it should be right up there with education and health.
Yeah.
We've got to be able to feed ourselves.
He wants this and he wants that. You remember the $17 million thing, Shine?
Mm-hmm.
When you enter the city in Montego Bay.
Oh, yes, I remember the city sign. Yes, Mr. Bartlett is going to have a lot to answer for.
Nothing. Remember, before I go, because that's why I don't want to come on again, because I told you people that nothing has changed since 1938. Well, since 1938, nothing has changed. That's why you have this people bleaching, because if they don't bleach, they don't get good job. The men bleaching, the women bleaching. Nothing has changed. Nothing at all. The job situation and right in the tourist industry, I remember years ago, when you went to the North Coast, the workers didn't pay the Jamaicans much money, They cater to the tourists. Things have changed now.
Yes, local visitors have value now. And so we should be able to stand up and insist on certain things happening.
You see, it's only 10,000 people living well in Jamaica. They are the ones that are setting all these rules, including the politicians and the 21 families.
So, Mary, you definitely can't stop talking, because if we don't keep speaking, if persons who have the knowledge and who have the right perspective don't share it, then it will never change. Never change. It will never change. But Mary, thank you so much for breaking the rule and calling us this morning.
Because just the minimum wage with the workers. It's long time from in the 90s and 80s. Some people were paying $15,000, right? And even the man with me, he refused to feed the daughter and the helpers. I had to hide and feed them. You have too many wicked people around.
And so that is really at the heart of it.
Mary, thank you
People
very
need
much.
to do right by each other. Thanks so much, Mary. Have a great day. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Pastor Percy.
Good morning, sir. How you doing?
Not bad. Miss, what is her name again, Miss Minute?
Lawrence.
Lawrence.
I'm a Lawrence.
Mr. Lawrence. Yeah,
You can call me Minette.
Jamaican men are some men treat women. You know, I was at my shop one day and there was a dreadlocks pass around. He came to my shop and he was talking to my common wife, Patty. But she man said, no man, that's not him.
This lady.
Huh?
This lady.
Yeah, one Patty. And I would never address a woman like that. Never.
Thank you.
I know from that day on, it's about 3 years old. He don't talk to me that much. You can see that he is resenting me because of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. Because and some of it is because we as mothers don't teach the children what is what. And sometimes some women themselves don't know because some women devalue and have low self-esteem, so they're not able to even teach the right things to their children. But society overall should look at these issues and play a role in restoring some semblance of order and right thinking when we see gaps. So thank you for standing up for the lady.
Yes. Since it's pandemic, I've been watching TVJ. It's the only station I can come down there. Right?
Yes.
And you don't see anything on the TV pertaining to education. You don't see them advertise like they have some DVD people can buy.
Yes.
For people to buy and show their kids. All you see is cartoon, American cartoon with 90%, 99% of the cartoon are white characters.
Yes.
And they have
or nondescript, non-human characters that you can't really relate to.
Right. All you see on the TV is entertainment. It's all about entertainment and making money.
But that's revealing a gap and an opportunity. Cable worse.
You don't have cable down there?
Yes. I don't have cable. What about people that don't have cable?
You're correct about that because it is something that people have been saying that with what has happened, the pandemic, it should really use public broadcast, BBC, to put on stations even once a day where the children can learn something.
Something that's uplifting and educational.
Right.
But it creates a gap, you know. It means that your community-based activity can be to put together this material and circulate it so children can have something that is a little more edifying as part of their diet. We're going to talk about the community-based activities later this week because we want people to find something that they can do.
Yes. Here, I think YouTube people argument even when they're talking about anything wrong, you cannot stop. You must be more
assertive.
Yes.
All right. So I'm going to practice it on you because it's time for us to take our break, and we're definitely taking a break right now.
All right, Santa, bless you.
You can hold.
Joe, that's Santa. All right.
We'll be right back.
Isaiah, let my hearts be troubled. Believe in God Almighty and daily renew the mind. As we live in this time when fake is more valued than real, lies prefer truth, the unnatural of the natural. This is LaDonna, aka Double D Don, with a new song, Almighty Jah, encouraging your people to keep the faith that God will make a way. Get your copy today. It's on all digital platforms. LaDonna Official on Instagram, Facebook, AsujaRecords.com. For bookings, Asuja Record label at Gmail. Almighty Jah!
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
Moving. My station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Boss FM, keep listening.
For many decades in Jamaica, when Black History Month is being celebrated, we learn it through the confines of slavery. Amidst the facts and fictions of what we see and hear, the question keeps surfacing. Aren't there truths and traditions in our history? We will attempt to tell the story of a people, a royal bloodline, a holy priesthood, an unbroken lineage. We will share with you our truthful story on Best 100 FM.
Up you mighty race, accomplish what you will. Let's return to truth and traditions right here on Best 100 FM. bringing it to you truthfully.
Live the life. Respect the music. And keep your radio locked in.
Best 100 FM.
Veg Printers for all your printing needs. We specialize in calendars, flyers, brochures, and more. Call us today at 968-7506. That's 968-7506. Or visit us at 4 East Bloomsbury Road, off Hagley Park Road. Veg Printers, your best choice in printing.
It's good, it's better, but nothing beats.
Good morning. Welcome back.
Good morning.
You really stayed.
As I was saying,
yes,
you don't have to. You can talk more aggressive and break the law.
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you guys are always laughing and talking stuff about some serious issue like the beach. The government has taken away all the beaches.
They didn't take it away yesterday or for this just because of COVID. That has been so for a very long time.
60, 70.
And Jamaicans have stood around and allowed it. And yeah, but here now, we're in a democracy. And if people accept that behavior and only know when it's beginning to look a bit strange that they are going to rile up about it, it doesn't matter to me. Can I tell you, I'm not a beach person. I mean, I don't even use a swimming pool that is right in my backyard. But for those who find that it's important, do something about it. My job here and what I try to do here is to provide a perspective for persons to analyze what's in front of them and make decisions based on some principles that don't involve anger, rancor, harsh talking, bad language, or a certain type of behavior. So I am very careful not to allow too much emotion to infiltrate the discussion because I want persons to be sober-minded when they're making these discussions. And I want persons to conduct discussions in a full and sensible way where you don't get overheated and abandon it before you have had a full discussion. A lot of us enter into discussions, we get so wrought up about it that all we do is confirm that we vex about it, and then we go and we tear things down, but we didn't have the conversation on how we're going to replace it, what we're going to build. There is a way to have discourse on public issues without getting, without being carried away. Let me put it that way. So I hope, and anyone who listened to me long enough, no one will mistake my good humor or my polite language for lack of strength or will. When there's something to be done, it will be done. But I will not become the thing that I am trying to change. So you need, of your own free will, participate in the discussion in a very civilized and truthful way where you can show your heart. If you want to cry, you can cry. There will be no laughter. If you want to be mild and soft-spoken, you can be. Your words don't lose value because you deliver them with a certain degree of civility. If you want to talk hard, you can talk hard, but don't pass the limit because we have to be able to complete the conversation. One of the distressing things for me is when callers get so caught up in sometimes the harshness of the situation that they can't even finish the call. They say, you know what, enough.
Yeah, right. And a lot of people would observe you laughing and so on. But the truth is, we are very firm in our conviction that change must come. And individually, together, that's what we're promoting. Yeah. Because the truth is, when you become angry, the Bible says become clouded, say you can't even make any sense of it. So it's important that we understand that. So thank you for your input. We'll continue to speak strong on the issues, but you hear us laughing and so on. We said sometimes laughing better than what. Right.
All right, I have another call to take.
All right.
Yes, have a great day. Good morning. Welcome to the Connection.
Yes, I promise a third call, Macam.
And so you have.
Thank you for calling back.
Yes, I have 2 points quickly. The minimum wage.
Yes.
It's not only the person that is working. I will consider the person that are living out in 2,500 per fortnight with the NIS.
No.
So some people in this country, you know, are living off sometimes at 2,000 I find that them a get 10 nights, you know. And them have the man nobody to give them a dollar, you know. So I think that those type of, you see, what's the problem I have, you know? I hear the government talking about the pensions, they are helping the elderly with the offer over 75%, and they give them $3,000. So this is a month or whatever. Now, in a country like this, with prices, with the cost of living, you know, so if I was the government, I'm going to give somebody $3,000 stuff to make a big thing about it. I would advertise this, you know. With the advertising, you know. I would get people and quietly give them that's probably the only thing they can afford now. But you're talking about $3,000 like it's some great they're doing for the people there.
You see, you're making an important point. You're putting in the same conversation the plight of those who are getting from what would be the social service.
Right.
You're putting it in the same conversation as the government carrying out a function of setting a minimum wage. A minimum wage doesn't affect government except in their character as employer. Yeah. Setting it is more for to the society on the standard that needs to be maintained for some level of decent living. But it's very hard to talk about decent living for the employed without considering what happens to persons who are at stage late in life or who don't have who are getting unemployment benefits. Not we have unemployment benefits too.
Talking about it.
That would be and Mr. Webby has been making some promises about seeing it through.
It's when the government talking the boy and they've asked the rate now. Well, government has cut out, you know. They go down there calling me 3,000. What is 3,000? What is 3,000 in the context of Jamaica? You must have this foolish because the 3,000 is that when they come back to them down, you know.
Let me tell you, $3,500 cannot feed your dog for a week.
Appreciate it, you know.
Yeah.
But the way they're going on, like, you know,
I think so too. And it's overall devaluing. Yeah.
Is what they're doing to you see the dependency syndrome that we develop in this country from government right down to the people, you know. Because we put all the eggs that we have in one basket, the tourism basket, you know. And because of that, now, whatever the tourists want or whatever the tourists do, we have to hook it up, right? This minister about this, if I give some little children some time, after much treat the tourist industry now, like I feel like die.
And he's the most experienced one in the sector on the government side. Who else would they give it to? So if it has become a toy for him, can you imagine what someone else would do with it?
I'm saying the way they are treating tourism, you know, at the different of the industry. Because right now, you know, when I look at all the good agricultural land that they're using at Bernard Lodge and Cayman to build house, you know. Right? I don't know policy on the government side that they're thinking about agriculture or to diversify our economy. I mean, it depends so much on tourism.
Yeah, that focus it's not there.
Like that.
You're right, it's not there.
Can anybody explain to me and tell me what the government is, apart from promoting tourism in this country, what is the government is promoting? Pull us out of the economic downturn that the country is right now. What else the government is promoting? Nothing. They're promoting nothing, you know. All I'm doing is advertising that they must build much house and that. They will build house and the people. What?
How will they afford to pay for it? Yeah.
What are they going to pay for those houses when you get in the houses?
You're asking some questions that probably should be turned around because government, the proper role of government is to facilitate and to manage what exists. So they should facilitate investment and activity on the ground in the economy. But we are constantly looking to them for leadership on some issues and they constantly fail.
Right, sorry to cut you. Right now, you know, we have a problem in this country. You know. I said it, you know. I went to a primary school, you know. I didn't go to high school until when I started to learn trade and the apprenticeship pro. Pastor, I say it's working in the industry.
Bernard Lodge.
All right. And I used to work at Cayman. I live at Cayman. All right. And when I started to learn trade and then I end up, you know, going to a technical school for what, you know, they releasing.
Yeah, man, I remember that, yeah.
Right. And at the age of 26, I could have paid down for a house in Greater Portmore. In there, Portmore, yeah. 26 years old, you know. With primary school education. Right. Now, my son has a master's degree. And when in 40, he could have buy a house, could have paid up an house, you know. So, the government plus the big business has managed it. The intelligence and this ruling class has managed this country, right? That a man with a master's degree, I find it difficult to even pay down a nice dwelling.
A house in an area of his choice. All right, my brother, you have hit some of the hard issues right to the head, because it's what we are seeking to change. The empowerment of the people to make better choices and to fight for the things that mean life to them. So I think the power is in our hands. That's really what I think. I don't look to government for more than, in fact, I try to avoid government, truth be told.
Yes, but the private sector is depending on Napoli their ways.
No, I am the private sector, and you have to see yourself as the private sector. Yeah, and we should educate our children to create, not to consume.
We're talking about big entities, big private sectors.
So you don't see yourself as capable of getting to that size. You gotta start somewhere. Mind you, I was shut down, but it's not that I won't rise again. I will rise again. I have another caller, and this is your second turn. So,
all right,
let's take another call. Good morning, and welcome to the Morning Connection.
Proverbs 29:11 says, "Fools give in to their rage, the wise man bring calm in the ends."
You were hunting for a proverb.
Yeah, because it's important.
We were trying to being soft.
Yeah. A person with wisdom yields patience. It is one word to overlook an offense.
Listen, on the weekend, as we were celebrating my mom, that was a recurring statement that persons were making, that many persons mistook the strength, the quietness, and the gentility for weakness and found themselves to be wrong. Good morning. Welcome to Morning Connection. Good morning, sir.
I'm Mr. Percy.
Yes, sir. How are you doing?
I'm here listening all the time. I just let you call now.
I thank you for calling.
Yeah, but I heard this call a while ago.
Yes. The nail on the head, man, several times, actually.
I first knew you talk nice and good and read.
Your man was in the zone.
Yeah. But you have to know.
Yes.
You don't have to respond. You just have to make a comment. The only way we can make a change in this country, we have to vote. So, you get the leading party out in the local election first, and then go along to the general. That's the only way we can make a change.
Yeah, but you know, I know you said I don't need to respond, but I have to say this to you. That's only the first step. Yeah. Because we have often voted out ruling parties and end up in the same position. So what we've been trying to accomplish here in this program is to say, first, you make the change by voting properly. But the man you vote for, make sure you have prepared him well for the position that you're putting him in. He must know you. He must know what you want. He must have a communication channel with you so that you are well and truly represented. We don't want to be seeing constantly constituencies are at odds with their MP because the MP take office and not come back, and the road makes, and in our visit he or she not performing, and then you don't know what to do except to wait 5 years for the next election. We've had enough of that.
And one of the things, my caller, that we're really pushing is for people to understand they have the power within themselves, in their families, in their communities, to effect change. Because the truth is, if you elect somebody who does not truly represent what's happening on the ground, we go up and do the same thing. So we have to become empowered in terms of understanding what it is we want, the vision that we have for our country, and hold them accountable if you're changing through the ballot box.
Right. Yes, thank you so much for your contribution. Yes. You know,
please assist Nana, but this, I need to say this: do not be quickly provoked in your spirit, for anger resides in the lap of fools. Ecclesiastes 7:9.
All right, can I say something on a slightly different point? In a democracy, the things that matter to people are the things that you will find them rising up and addressing. Even though we are a small country in terms of even population size. Do we have another caller? Oh, I'm so sorry. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning. Welcome. All right, so on to that call is
silence in heaven.
Yeah, there are a couple of things that government does, and they just seem to get away with it. This issue with the beaches, maybe we have too many options, but only I think the fisher folk, you will hear them come out when certain abuses take place. But mostly the government is able to do what it wants and get by. I don't think many Jamaicans go to the beach. We don't feel that. Even I myself heard myself saying, I'm not a beach person, so I wouldn't even know that is going on because I'm not trying to go to the beach. Should we take an interest in the large issues? Yes, we should, because we can't stand by and allow certain excesses to take place to the disadvantage of our brothers and sisters without joining them in the protest. So I'm just looking out how we consider the issues that don't affect us immediately and directly, because that support is needed to accomplish change. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Good morning again.
Good morning. Welcome back.
Yeah, man. As I listen over the years, every time someone come and speak about you must vote, I agree.
Yes.
But then follow up and vote out this party. I agree. Whether it is one power or the one power, I will always agree. Why do we have to vote as one party? But then people vote for the person who is just doing good in the community and working.
That's how it should be.
It should be. That's have to change.
Yeah.
That's what we have to break.
Because let's vote out this party. the guy just said, who do we vote to that party?
Well, and so, I understand that he wasn't necessarily being tribal in his perspective. He's saying the way to change it is to vote. And if this party is not, when he says party, this government, because you're right, it's not parties we vote. If this government, I don't really think he meant to be tribal. He was saying change government, make a change. And then he agreed with what we were saying here, namely, but change to someone who will do what you need done, who is accountable, and so on. And I really think that we are at fault. I always say we get what we deserve, including me, when I don't even vote for whomever ends up holding the ticket. I get what I deserve because when I can, through my activism and greater involvement, encourage others to be more critical in their choices, I send out of the game. I always leave it to someone else. Now we're trying to get as many persons as possible to do something about it, because if we all rise together or we fall together, it don't make sense if half up and half down. To me, it's still a failure. It's one of those things when the only passing grade is when you have taken care of your entire family.
Yes.
So what
I want to see happen now is this person, no matter who the representative is, but we look at it, we assess it, and you can even say I am a PMP, but I'm good at it.
Yes.
Good at PMP there.
Because you have the right, because the right man, man is setting his cap in the ring, and he knows what to do, and you have confidence in him, and you have connection. That's what's missing. All the time you see constituents are crying, but there's no relationship.
Absolutely no relationship. And you have to follow up, man. After you go follow up, man.
Follow him up, keep them accountable.
I don't mean on the talk show, Go to the office.
But right in the constitution, underground. Underground. That is the only true test of accountability.
Yeah.
But that's what we call it, actually.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So we're calling people to come off veranda discussions
and get in the trenches.
Yeah, man.
All right, brother. And on the nonsense. I know you're in the trenches, literally. Trench down.
Yeah, we're not play with them. We just go up to do, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you come here, you see all the things that happen and we want.
All right.
Yep.
And it gets so bad.
We actually want to visit you just informally before the month ends, because I know with Black History Month and Reggae Month and so on, that your place is an interesting place right now.
And I want to tell you, Reggae Month is not in Trenchtown, the reggae place.
What is the next event you have on schedule?
Well, we had one for last week for Sunday, and I had to postpone it because it was a massive event, massive event.
Why was it postponed?
Well, we applied for assistance from the government on one particular issue, not even money.
Yeah.
We had sponsors coming in to stream people entire event, and they needed visas and took money to get the visa.
So when will it take place? Because it's only postponed.
Well, we are talking with the sponsors to they're the ones who talk.
Yes.
It's going actually worldwide.
Well, when you have the new date, please tell us so we can be a part of getting the word out for you. All right, thank you. All right, my brother, thanks again.
Yeah, man.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection. Good morning. Welcome. I have Lancelot Wilson weighing and saying changing government is not enough. The black people in this country need to wake up and stop banging the false narrative that only the PNP or GLP should be the government in the country. I couldn't have said it better myself.
I'm that there's a new thing happening, that you have people who are representing people. So you're not voting along party lines. You're voting
representation
of the people. Welcome, caller. How are you?
Morning.
Hello, morning.
Good morning. A long time I haven't heard this voice. Miss Elaine?
Yes.
Are you part of our 1660? I know you always want to make change in your community.
I want to make change all over the world.
All right, stay. Go ahead.
Well, after death, I'm trying to know. You have the number. You have the number one time.
We Thursdays are not good days for calling us, Elaine. Today's a better day. I'm glad you've got through. What's happening with you today?
Well, I'm just taking everything what's going on. Yep.
How you feel about the beach issue? Is that on your mind, or are you more interested in what Mr. Meadows and Miss Crystal have been talking about?
Whenever you hear Miss Crystal come away late.
Oh, no, she wasn't on the program.
It was the newspaper.
Oh, I never hear it.
So you just call us to say hello.
Yeah.
Well, hello to you, Miss Elaine.
The beach, the man for free. All them are from people.
Well, right now it's because of the Disaster Risk Management Act powers that allow them to close to the public. But I think the beaches are on paper free. Except that there are very few. No man. Beaches in Jamaica are on paper, they're free, but you don't have sufficient infrastructure to give you access to the beaches without you having to go through some of the hotel property. On some of the finer beaches are pretty much held hostage by the hotels that they are so positioned that you can't just walk onto the beach. You'd have to get into your boat and come up on the shoreline, which I've seen some people do. But Jamaicans have not cared enough about it consistently to make a change. Yes.
Should be with number one. You understand? Because it is the number one because everybody have to eat like 2-3 times a day. You understand?
That is true.
So,
all right, Elaine, I have another caller on the line. So if you don't have an issue to discuss with me, I beg you to let me go so I can release the other caller. But thanks for listening and for sharing.
Hey.
Listen, why we don't preach all of the parts of them? What of them are preach against the Holy Father like that?
Against who's the Holy Father? The Pope?
The one and only Father, the one and only Creator.
Oh, all right. You will definitely think about it while we take a break.
Listen to Percy.
Let me take a break now, my dear.
Percy.
It's 8:30 and we're taking a break here.
All right. I'll call you.
Okay, no problem.
All right, cool.
Mr. Percy.
We'll be right back.
Looking to clean your vehicle super clean? 123 Clean Car Wash, located at 2 1/4 Osborne Road, Kingston 10. Entrance on Grove Road, below Tropical Battery. They wash and vacuum, undercarriage wash, engine wash, polish and compound, shampoo and detailing. Call them at 876-631-3400. 123 Clean Car Wash, the best in the business for a cleaner wash.
1, 2, 3, believe me, it's so easy. 1, 2, 3.
The station that makes you feel good.
I love the station. I think it's great.
My station.
This is my station.
Moving. Keep it right here. Keep it right here.
Best FM. Keep listening.
Melody in my voice. Kemisha plays the music nice. Melody in my voice. Kemisha full of vibes.
Okay. So 21% is the majority that got us a government.
Yeah.
And the other 16 got us opposition.
Yes.
Okay, 37. All right, thanks for that.
Thank you very much.
Oh, it was 37.
Yes,
yeah.
right.
So when you were saying 60-odd%, you were right.
You were correct.
Yes, because what grieved me, no, Pastor, I entered this world from 1960, and from that time till now, I don't see hardly any one woman for to come real to calling. Let's say they want to be a leader, you know.
For the people, truly for the people.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, especially this one, I've been talking to them from a long time, you know. Long time I've been talking to them. All the tragedies that they have done, and people turn a blind eye. I don't know why, but I want 60% people to really get up when the time comes and stand up for the right.
Yes, sir. I echo that with you. Thank you so much.
Okay, sister.
Right. Have a good day too, my brother. Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yeah, good morning.
You're always welcome here. You know that.
Yeah, again.
The Russian leader
yes
said if that country join NATO, what's the name of it again?
Ukraine.
Ukraine. It will draw the world closer to a nuclear war. You hear what I said?
Yes, I heard you.
So Russia don't want anyhow Ukraine join NATO. United States Army will be right on Russia border. And Russia don't want that.
No, you know, what's your view? Because you're repeating it, but what is your view? Do you think that Russia is rightly concerned about the United States was in their arch enemy for decades? Do you think they're rightly concerned about a United States ally right on the border? Should they have a concern?
160%.
Okay.
Because remember the Cuban issue?
Which one?
Which one? Was supporting Cuba and America.
Did not want
with them to move their nuclear from Cuba.
Yes.
So the United States didn't want Russia to invade backyard.
Yes,
I have seen a lot of countries that you invade Panama, and there's a lot more you can talk about.
Of course. Yeah.
They control the West.
My only
and Russia decide to invade. I agree with him. No, sometimes you have to stand up and fight. And stop talking about him.
If Russia, let me see if I just said, if Russia invades Ukraine, what you saying?
No, I don't have a problem with them doing it because I've seen America do it something a lot of time.
But you know, can I correct something? Because it's not Russia invading Ukraine. Ukraine, as a former member of the Soviet Union, much as how America sees itself as the champion of the West, Russia stands in a similar position with the countries that were once a part of the Union. There is an agreement that if there is unrest within the country, it is Russia who will come to their aid.
Yes.
However you view the reporting, what is happening in Ukraine, within Ukraine, there are pro-Russian separatist interests, I guess like the Maroons. And if you were to ask Prime Minister Holness, he would say that the Maroon talk is showing some sign of a break in the unitary state. So within Ukraine itself, as they are in their bid for power, there is a faction within the Ukraine that wants to take power from the existing leadership, and it favors absolutely. So if civil unrest were to break out in the Ukraine, it is Russia that would intervene to maintain balance. So it's not Russia invading the Ukraine. It would be Russia responding to a state of unrest within the Ukraine, which could result in a very pro-Russian government replacing the existing government, and therefore this government that likes NATO and America would be ousted. Why can't they be allowed to settle their disagreement or to bid their bid for power within their own structure over there without the world having to be drawn into a crisis and people in Jamaica have to pay more money for oil and electricity to be selfish?
The other thing what I want to talk about everybody's talking about KP and JLP. From I have since there are only two parties in the United States, Republican and Democrat. And that like about how many years? 400 years?
From you saying it's been 400 years?
No. What I read about and what I saw.
So that it is established that a bipartisan system is fairly standard.
What I'm saying, I don't think you can have a third party or whatever. But what we need to find is a leader who will speak rule. Either the JLP and the PNP.
And I think most of us are looking. Yeah, but I think most of us are looking past that now.
Because at the end of the day, if we get up a new person, we are only buying push in a bag because we can't read his mind.
Okay, you keep saying that, Santa, in terms of pussy. But we have a call on the line. Thank you for calling and stating your views on the issue. Thank you.
All right.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Yeah, good morning to your co-host.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Yeah, first thing first, gentlemen, we need some paradigm shift in our political thinking and action.
True.
So make him talk about by putting her back.
But he was saying something of value there too. He said, don't focus on the name of the party because most places only have two parties.
And his opinion, either factual or fictional.
All right. What is your opinion now?
Yes. Parliament, young lady and gentlemen.
Yes.
We know about three arms of the government: the judiciary, the executive, and the legislature.
Yes.
I think the Constitution gives the legislator the mandate.
Mm-hmm.
That's Parliament now,
Right.
But you know what happened? How we see one extra below class would have turned the thing upside down now.
Well,
because Parliament has become has always been a rubber stamping thing, for the executive.
True.
So we have to start out on the first.
When you say we below crossroads, you mean
we are the majority, And we kind of about everything they say.
You mean we the people?
Yes. We the people. Yes, we're about everything.
Yes.
We are not benefiting. They are the one benefiting. We are not benefiting,
Absolutely, my brother. That is what we need to change. We are staying out of the conversation. We are just allowing them to do what they want to do because we are so accustomed. Remember, now, you come out of the plantation kind of economy. You are accustomed to being sort of a silent participant whose voice is not heard, whose views are not sought, and we have to figure things out on our own. So we're accustomed to turning our back on what is being done in the big house.
Yeah. So in other words, we are preserving the big man. I could have said big man mentality.
Yes.
That went on in slavery,
Precisely so. Except that now we own the big house. We are sending people there. We should be controlling those people, not turn our backs on them and make them do whatever they feel like.
Yes, point taking. No.
Absolutely. Time and a half for us to start moving.
Yes, but I think that crippled Parliament, in my humble opinion,
Yes.
And crippled the individual member of Parliament. I think both parties has given the leader of the respective party they have that point to take over forward as a candidate.
Yes.
And
we have to make that change.
Cripple Parliament,
True.
In addition to who they want on minister, I think rock vote too much,
Yeah, and they can't serve the constituency.
Yes, so I'm going to should have known that more anybody else, Because that's what he was saying prior to him returning to the Labour Party. The next thing, last long, the Ukraine Russia is now.
Yes.
No people talk about Russia and this and Russia arch enemy of America and the West and the people also say the balance of power shift in favor of China right now, and the European people originate from Europe can't take too much chance to come to our like one time.
Yes, but remember that even though the power shifted, people are still gonna be fighting over the spoils.
Exactly, but all I'm saying,
Russia and China are neighbors.
Are in good, and they're in good.
And they have a relationship.
China will become the Western strategic competitor. So you can make like one time go on. So you pick up yourself and take care.
Thank you so much, my brother.
Interesting perspective.
Good morning. Welcome to the Morning Connection.
Morning, November.
Good morning. How you do? I'm Love and she's blessed.
My first time to not give some sorry to her.
Yeah, you have to say. Minimum wage by your head.
I look policy and I say, we can't get good on
True. True, but God can take what is meant for evil and turn it to good.
We can't do that. God, we know God different from we.
True.
But they're the ones who use.
But in the circumstances together to think that what you are doing to say I could destroy somebody and turn it around, the person was a victim becomes a victim in the situation.
We are voting for people, where they are evil.
But as you said the right thing. We vote for them. So how are we gonna make the change? Are you in agreement?
Yeah, the change that we have to make now, we have to remove them. Remove them. The community and them as well. All the money after them. All the money thief off. Shut off. When you go to the lane them at a stone.
The car gone.
We tomorrow morning we're going to spend some more time talking on it, but we have started an initiative here. We're calling 1660. 60 communities for change. Activate the members of the community who see what is happening and want to make a change. And we build a program with them and monitor the progress, and we introduce the right level of prayer and intercession to see what will change on the ground. Are you on board with it? Because it sounds like you would like to do that for your community.
Yes, Miss Minute.
What is the name of your community that you would work in?
Anderson, Grandstand.
Ah, a big one. All right.
Yes, Miss Minute.
Yes.
Right, African.
All right, African.
No, Miss Minute.
Yes.
Miss Minute. PNP and JLP can't help with.
I know that. The answer is not in politics. When we make the change, the politics can move with it to preserve and to extend it. But the people have to make the change.
Yes, Miss Minute. Me dep on the ground and me have to think. The tax money I collect, the housing cost money gone. All of the money, nobody know where they. And the country that the public conscience. And the government never talk about it.
No, it's being swept under the rug, but we can't allow it to be so. By the way, please tell me that you were able to, you heard from Earl and the others who are part of the project that you are going to participate in.
Yeah, in short, never be my show. You know.
All right, good. Okay, enough said on that. We'll follow up off here.
Yes, it's minutes.
All right, my brother. Yeah. Take care.
We are fighting now. We are fighting and we Africa.
Always.
Always, my brother.
Always.
Over evil.
The people are will up evil much.
Well, as Pastor say, once the light shines, the evil, the darkness will be dispelled. So thank you so much, African. Nice to hear from you. Thank you, brother.
Thank you very much.
All right, we're in the final stretch. Thank you so much, all of the callers, those online. There are one or two things that I want to repeat from us online, but I'm so grateful that you participated in the discussion. You said your piece, and it seems like the energy to some real things keeps building. I'm so grateful to see that happening. It's really why Pastor Percy and I are on this journey. Truth to Power says, is asking, do you think it's necessary to have nightly curfews? I think there's no need, but it is being abused as a crime-fighting strategy. Prime Minister has a lost, he says, for abusing constitutional provisions. Not just the Prime Minister, even in the private sector, we are seeing that it is all too easy for persons to trample on the rights of others in order to satisfy their own agenda. What is that now? Come on, Conrad, set fire to that for me, please.